At a magnificent academy, a challenge is issued to the incoming freshmen. A stern-faced man announces the beginning of the class allocation exam. The first test is revealed. Students must enter a forest and defeat goblins. The man watches a live broadcast, asking citizens to vote for the students. He explains the exam's high stakes, as top performers will join the prestigious upper class. In the depths of the forest, a trio of goblins waits. A red-haired student lands a powered punch on a goblin, but onlookers comment that his power seems weak. Elsewhere, a goblin is instantly shredded by a flurry of swift blue slashes. A blue-haired girl gracefully wields her weapon as the live chat praises her strength and cute appearance. A blonde spear wielder leaps high into the air, preparing a devastating downward strike on a terrified goblin. Boom! She smashes her fiery spear into the ground, impressing viewers with her overwhelming power. Viewers watch the broadcast, amazed by this year's talented lineup and debating who to vote for. The blue-haired girl poses, as narration explains that in this school, strength guarantees wealth and fame. A boy and girl are startled by a loud noise, and the live chat wonders about the commotion. A camera drone buzzes past, hurrying to capture the source of the sound. A boy in a yellow suit screams and flees from a lone goblin. The audience mocks the boy, questioning if his trashy-looking suit is actually his relic. The boy gets struck on the head by the goblin's club. Viewers ridicule him for struggling against the weakest goblin, though one person notes his impressive will to fight. He falls to his knees in defeat, letting out a pained groan. Desperate, he picks up a simple wooden stick to use as a weapon. Ah! He screams in pain as electricity courses through him, much to the amusement of the live audience. A system notification reveals the problem. His beginner's suit prevents him from equipping any weapons. Tisk, now disarmed, he faces the menacing goblin empty-handed. He endures a brutal beating from the goblin, gritting his teeth in pain. He finally collapses, utterly defeated, as the audience calls for a medic, fearing he's about to die. Against all odds, he begins to push himself up again, earning begrudging respect from viewers for his persistence. With renewed determination glinting in his eyes, his tattered suit begins to glow. He rips off the suit and charges the goblin bare-chested, wielding the stick as the chat calls it a broadcast accident. The audience erupts in laughter, realizing the suit was the relic he couldn't use weapons with. His nationally broadcast failure solidifies his rank as the school's absolute lowest. His school life at Valkyria School begins at the bottom, with his ID showing Asahi Hinata, Class E, alongside Minase Shizuku in Class A, and Kurimura Takayuki in Class E. A flashback begins, showing a horde of demonic monsters that once threatened the world. A massive, fiery beast is shown destroying a city. As narration explains, these creatures brought humanity to the brink. The aftermath is a scene of total devastation, with tanks and buildings engulfed in flames. A young Asahi Hinata stands amidst the rubble, seeing that conventional weapons were useless against the monsters. The young boy looks on in terror, his face reflecting the burning city. A great red dragon descends from the sky, a harbinger of destruction. As the dragon unleashes a torrent of fire, young Hinata can only watch in horror. Two warriors, one with a great shield, protect young Hinata and a small girl from the fiery blast. A narration explains relics, weapons manifested from a person's soul, are humanity's only hope. Hinata recalls his father, the shield wielder, who was his role model and a hero who protected citizens. But even his father's powerful relic began to crack under the immense pressure of the attack. In a moment of sacrifice, his father yells for Hinata to take a young girl named Shizuku and run. His father smiles back one last time, urging his son to become strong enough to protect everyone. Overwhelmed by grief, young Hinata collapses and cries among the ruins. A tearful young Shizuku reaches for Hinata as he is forced to leave her behind. Haunted by that memory, Hinata dedicated himself to training relentlessly, pushing his body to its absolute limit. He trained to become stronger, his father's final words echoing in his heart. Back in the present, Kurimura Takayuki smugly taunts Hinata, telling him it's time to give up. Coughing, Hinata slumps against a wall, while Kurimura Takayuki orders him to buy yakisoba bread and milk. Smack! Takayuki slaps Hinata across the face, saying he almost forgot something. Taping a sign that reads "Hero appears" to Hinata's back, Takayuki threatens him not to remove it. Students mock Hinata as he walks down the hall, one noting he's getting beaten up again. Down the same hall walks Minase Shizuku, the talented blue-haired girl from Class A. Shizuku and Hinata pass each other in the corridor, sharing a tense, silent moment. As Hinata walks away, Shizuku glances back with a somber expression. The narration identifies the tearful young girl from the past as Minase Shizuku, an old friend who also lost her father that day. Though they were once close, he recalls how their relationship fractured upon entering the school. Their paths diverged. She became a top student with a powerful relic, while he became a dropout with cosplay. Clang! A shoe is thrown from across the room, striking Hinata squarely in the head. Kurimura Takayuki, lounging on a desk, chastises Hinata for being slow with his errand. Hinata enters his classroom, the notorious E-class, filled with students with low-performing relics and uncertain futures. Two female classmates observe that E-class is a trash heap for unmotivated students that even teachers ignore. Takayuki confronts Hinata, angrily asking where he's looking as his relic gauntlet begins to glow. Takayuki drives his fist into Hinata's gut. Kurimura Takayuki's gauntlet relic is identified as he furiously asks Hinata if he's being defiant on purpose. Threatening to teach him a lesson, Takayuki looms over Hinata, who spits up the milk from earlier. A bowl-cut student meekly protests that Takayuki is going too far and will ruin Hinata's bread. Takayuki sarcastically agrees to repay Hinata for his trouble by stomping on him and his food. The two girls watch the one-sided beating, pitying the poor thing. One girl explains that Takayuki hates Hinata because he's the reason Takayuki was assigned to Class E. She recounts a mock battle where Hinata's persistence prevented Takayuki from winning decisively. Takayuki got a bad evaluation for lacking a finishing move, all because Hinata simply wouldn't stay down. They agree Hinata has unexpected persistence, but is stupid to endure the constant beatings. Grabbing Hinata by the collar, Takayuki asks if he finally understands his place. He clenches his armored fist, preparing to strike again. With a final glowing punch, Takayuki unleashes his full force on Hinata. As the blow connects, a system display shows a counter rapidly approaching its 10,000 point limit. Hinata is sent flying backward, crashing through a row of classroom desks. Defeated, he lies in the wreckage as Takayuki stands over him triumphantly. Takayuki scoffs at the arrogant look on the weakling's face. He sneers that weak relics are inherited, betting Hinata's parents had trashy relics too. Crossing a line, Takayuki threatens to find Hinata's family and beat them all to dust. He taunts Hinata, daring him to fight back if he's so mad. Overcome with rage, Hinata grits his teeth and clenches his fists. The bowl-cut student calls out to Takayuki, attempting to de-escalate the situation. Takayuki turns on him, menacingly asking if he's now protecting the loser. Terrified, the student stammers that he couldn't care less about trash like Hinata. To prove it, Takayuki orders him to grab a chair and hit Hinata too. Huck! Forced to comply, the terrified student smashes the chair over Hinata's back. With that final blow, a system notification flashes. 10,000/10,000. The condition has been met. Hinata collapses, admitting to himself his own weakness. He recalls over 10 years of brutal training, realizing effort alone offers no guarantees. Ding! As he lies on the floor, a glowing blue notification appears in his hand. A system window announces, "You can now upgrade beginner's suit to unyielding suit." A bloody, determined grin spreads across Hinata's face. Clutching the glowing core on his chest, he declares he doesn't know how to give up. Now in his yellow suit, Hinata confidently approaches the school basement training portal. Hinata recalls his humiliating defeat in the placement exam, worrying he'll be expelled for his lack of ability. Valkyria Academy is shown in all its glory, as the narration explains its unforgiving nature. Funded by taxpayers, the Academy shows no mercy in weeding out students deemed useless. Hinata acknowledges he is considered one of them, but is determined not to get expelled. He clenches his fist, filled with a sliver of hope that there's still a chance. He thinks about how sacred relics grow stronger with use, a fundamental principle of this world. Standing before the training portal, he wonders if his tacky suit has any special ability at all. Shaking off his doubts, he pushes open the heavy doors, refusing to give in to negative thoughts. He steps towards the glowing portal, resolved to change his fate and not live like this forever. Inside, he lies defeated on the ground, having been instantly overwhelmed. A goblin looms over him, and he realizes with a jolt that this training is genuinely dangerous. He reflects that without relics, even guns were useless against goblins, so his bare hands stand no chance. He struggles to his feet, wondering if he should abandon the suit and fight without it again. No, he resolves to find a way to deal damage while wearing the suit to make his relic grow. A goblin swings its heavy club down toward his head. He braces, catching the club with his gloved hands and gritting his teeth against the impact. With a defiant roar, he channels his energy and declares he will never give up, startling the goblin. His counterattack succeeds, and the goblin dissolves, leaving him exhausted but victorious. He collapses, admitting that was a close call and vowing never to try such a reckless method again. Kneeling, he picks up the tiny magic stone left by the goblin, disappointed by the meager reward. He stares in shock as the magic stone vanishes the moment he touches it. Ding! A system notification suddenly appears on his arm, startling him. Looking closer, he sees the notification on his chest. The update condition of receiving 10,000 damage has been met. Back in his dormitory, he smiles confidently, feeling the time has finally come for a change. Ding, a system window explains he can now use the voice command update to upgrade his suit. Update, he shouts, and a brilliant blue light erupts from the relic on his hand. The light fades, revealing his newly transformed, indomitable suit, now with sleek black markings. He examines his reflection, noting the subtle change in appearance and wondering if its performance has improved. A status screen appears, displaying his stats and a new skill, equipment aptitude. Confused by the unfamiliar screen, he stares at the floating window with curiosity. Another notification explains the indomitable suit bestows powerful protection and blessings of growth. He ponders the suit's new abilities, guessing his defense must have increased. Flexing with renewed confidence, he decides it's time to test his upgraded suit's power. Later that night in the forest, a lone goblin senses something and looks up nervously at the moon. Elsewhere in the same forest, Minase Shizuku cleanly slices a goblin in two with her glowing blade. Phew. She sighs, disappointed that these weak monsters are no longer even useful for practice. Her attention is caught by a figure in the distance. It's Hinata, wearing his newly upgraded suit. A blonde girl with a large staff approaches, asking Shizuku what's wrong. It's nothing, Shizuku replies, turning away from the sight of Hinata. The blonde girl giggles, recognizing Hinata as the funny kid from the broadcast accident. Shizuku coldly suggests that if he's so desperate for laughs, he should just drop out. Her friend asks if she's angry, but Shizuku says she's just fed up. Walking away, she mutters that he keeps giving her hope, only to disappoint her time and again. She then turns her gaze back to Hinata, noticing that his suit looks different than before. How Hinata now easily blocks a goblin's club, with a determined expression. He realizes that while he still takes some damage, the new suit allows him to finally advance. Pow! He counters with a powerful uppercut, sending the goblin flying. He looks at his fist in surprise, shocked by his own newfound strength. But the goblin recovers quickly, slamming its club down hard onto his back. Thrown to the ground, Hinata gasps in pain from the goblin's relentless assault. The goblin raises its club again, preparing to deliver another crushing blow. Pounded into the dirt, Hinata realizes he can't win just by enduring, and wonders if he should risk using that again. Suddenly, more goblins emerge from the shadows, surrounding him as their comrade dissolves. Startled, he looks around in a panic, wondering when the reinforcements arrived. Hopelessly outnumbered, he realizes the situation is critical and that he might actually die here. His strength failing, he whispers a desperate plea for help. A spark of defiance lights up in his bloodied face as he finds new resolve. As a goblin strikes him, he thinks, that's right, bracing for the impact, with a plan in mind. He reaches out, absorbing the lingering energy from the first goblin he defeated. He endures a brutal beating from the mob, his body crackling with absorbed energy. Having taken enough punishment, he dashes away from the now defeated goblins with newfound speed. He sprints through the forest, knowing he has to see this through. He skids to a halt, squaring up as a system window materializes before him. A notification announces he's acquired the skill Revenge, which converts damage into power for 10 seconds, startling him as more goblins approach. With no time to think, he clenches his fist, deciding to bet everything on this one shot. Revenge! He roars, his fist glowing with overwhelming, crackling energy. A 10-second countdown begins as he launches himself into the fray. Bam! He smashes through the first goblin in a blur of blue light. The shockwave of his attack sends the entire goblin mob flying backward. The countdown continues as he gracefully moves to his next target. Bam! He slams another goblin into the ground with devastating force. He continues his lightning-fast assault, striking another goblin down. With just 1 second left, he clenches his fist for the final blow. Pow! His last punch connects, obliterating the remaining goblin. His power expended, he collapses to the ground, completely exhausted. He reviews the skill, recognizing it's a powerful trump card but limited by its once-a-day use and damage requirement. Sitting up, he concludes he can't keep fighting in such a reckless, life-threatening way. He considers his relic's true nature, guessing the transformation enhances its properties rather than just changing its look. His eyes land on a single glowing pink magic stone, the only remnant of the goblin horde. He reaches down and picks up the small, shimmering crystal. Ding! A system notification pops up unexpectedly, catching him by surprise. He stares in amazement as a flood of notifications announces new proficiencies, passive skills, and stat increases. Clenching his fist, he feels a surge of excitement, realizing he can continue to grow stronger. Sniff. Nearby, a larger armored hobgoblin cautiously investigates the area. A shadowy figure, Hinata, leaps from the trees, descending upon the unsuspecting monster. Revenge. He lands a powerful, decisive blow directly on the hobgoblin's head. He kneels over the hobgoblin as its body dissolves into shimmering blue particles. Finally, he thinks with a satisfied smile, he's defeated a hobgoblin too, as he touches its magic stone. A system notification declares he has cleared an achievement for his first hobgoblin kill, granting an upgrade. Grasping the hobgoblin's club, he grins, thrilled that he can finally wield weapons. A reward screen lists multiple new proficiencies and stat boosts, making him feel the tough fight was worth it. He checks his status, pleased to see a massive boost in his durability and several new passive skills. An upgrade list appears, detailing the new conditions required to further strengthen his suit. He analyzes his skills, noting he has a good defensive skill, but that his only offense, revenge, is difficult to use. To gain more attack options, he realizes he'll have to keep upgrading his suit through its evolutionary stages. Lying down to rest, he relaxes and contemplates the meaning of the word trigger. He thinks back, realizing he got the revenge skill before the upgrade list unlocked, and wonders what triggered the suit's evolution. He dismisses the idea it was absorbing the mana crystal, remembering a different, more important message. He recalls the crucial detail. The system had mentioned something about an unyielding spirit. In a hospital room, a cheerful young woman in a pink robe sits up in bed, happily calling out to her brother. Hinata visits her, and she enthusiastically says he can sit, telling him she feels really great today. The girl, Hikari, asks if their mother looks better today, as they both gaze at the unconscious woman with crystals on her chest. Hinata reflects that his mother has been in a coma for 10 years, ever since that incident. Her condition is the incurable crystal disease, which develops from the venom of certain monsters. Hikari seems puzzled, mentioning that at this rate, their mother could be discharged next year. As Hinata's expression darkens, an older man with white hair and glasses enters the room, signaling a problem. Hikari cheerfully greets the man as Mr. Genji, while Hinata watches him warily. Genji smiles and greets Hikari, telling her she looks healthy. He offers a basket of fruit as a recovery gift, which Hikari gratefully accepts. Genji turns to Hinata, placing a hand on his shoulder and remarking that his timing is perfect. Leaning in with an unsettling smile, Genji suggests that they have a private talk. They move to a break room, where Genji casually gets a drink from a vending machine. This man is identified as Kagura Genji, the influential Guild Master of Phoenix, an organization that fights monsters. Genji smirks, getting straight to the point by telling Hinata he'll need money to care for his family. He pressures Hinata, asking if he doesn't want to find a cure for his mother. The narrative explains the crystal disease's growths have properties similar to valuable mana crystals. This raises a dark question. What if humans could become an endless source for this new energy? The grim truth is revealed. Patients with crystal disease are secretly and illegally traded for high prices. Realizing Genji wants to use his mother as a test subject under the guise of curing her, Hinata flatly declines. Tesk Genji adjusts his glasses, coolly asking if the inheritance from Hinata's father is running out. He continues his psychological assault by questioning how much longer Hinata can pay the hospital fees, striking a nerve. Jinji delivers a final blow, stating that with a low-ranked relic, Hinata will never earn enough to support his family anyway. Filled with defiance, Hinata declares he will definitely protect his family. He remembers this was the last promise he made to his father. Hinata asks Ginji to keep their talk a secret from his sister, and Ginji smoothly agrees, not wanting Hikari to hate him. Telling Hinata to call if he changes his mind, Ginji leaves, dropping his can on the way out. Ginji scoffs in frustration as he departs, leaving Hinata alone with his thoughts. Looking toward his mother's room, Hinata resolves to become much stronger than he is now. The scene transitions to the bustling city street outside the hospital. Hinata checks his phone, noticing that the school's training portal is still open. Deciding to forego any rest, his determination is interrupted by a girl shouting to be let go. He turns to see two men harassing a girl in his school's uniform, trying to persuade her with money. He recognizes her as Yakumo Akane from his Class E, who is furiously telling the men she doesn't need their money. Thinking it's not his business, Hinata hesitates for a moment before turning to walk away. One of the bullies tells Akane it's too late to pretend it doesn't matter, as the seniors are waiting. Laughing, the bullies accuse her of playing dumb, insinuating she's done this sort of thing before. Akane insists it's a misunderstanding, but one bully smirks, claiming he heard about her from someone she knows. He threatens to spread rumors about her if she doesn't comply, causing her to recoil in distress. Fed up, Akane spits defiantly in the face of her primary tormentor. With a furious glare, she gives him the middle finger and tells him to screw himself. The onlookers are taken aback by her ferocity. While the boy she spit on seethes with rage, she shoves him back, screaming that she's never done what they are accusing her of. Yelling that it doesn't matter, the furious bully lunges for her again. A hand shoots out, grabbing the bully's wrist and stopping his attack cold. Akane stares in wide-eyed shock at her unexpected savior. Hinata, she whispers in disbelief as he holds the bully's arm back, his relic's mark glowing on his hand. The bully demands to know who Hinata is, but then pauses, recognizing the uniform and finding his face vaguely familiar. Two female students watch, one recognizing Hinata as the weakest in E-class, with a cosplay relic. The bully with the orange beanie smirks, remembering Hinata from the broadcast accident. He tells Hinata to step aside, claiming they have business with Akane. Hinata stands firm, shielding Akane, who looks up at him with concern. The bully with the beanie furiously calls Hinata an E-class bug and throws a punch. Akane desperately warns Hinata that he's messing with powerful Class C students. Unfazed, Hinata effortlessly catches the bully's fist. Pow! He counters with a swift kick to the bully's back. Stunned, the bully stumbles forward, spitting from the unexpected blow. Hinata finishes him with a powerful elbow strike, sending him to the ground. Akane watches in utter disbelief, her mouth agape. Hinata glares down at the defeated bully, his cool demeanor unshaken. The scene shifts to the Valkyria Academy kickboxing club, where students are training. A coach yells for one more round with a loud ki, and the sparring partners agree. In the ring, a focused girl with light blue hair takes her fighting stance. She faces her sparring partner, a man named Takahashi. He launches a swift punch directly at her face. She dodges cleanly and prepares to counter his attack. She easily blocks his next move with the sole of her foot, surprising him. With graceful control, she lands a clean kick to his side. After the spar, she thanks Senpai Takahashi, who praises her top-notch martial arts skills. Takahashi notes her diligence, having heard her artifact is also top tier, but she replies there's always room for improvement. He seems puzzled by her answer, while she quietly affirms that improvement was once her goal. In the locker room, she reflects that her goal is now something else. Back in the alley, Hinata readies himself, thinking he must excel in martial arts, as it's all he has. Confused, Akane wonders why Hinata, who seemed helpless against Takayuki, is now so strong. Enraged, the bully with the white cap charges forward, shouting at Hinata. Hinata easily sidesteps and twists the bully's arm, taking control. With a powerful throw, he slams the bully face first into the pavement. Damn it. The last bully grabs Hinata from behind in a tight headlock. Hinata leaps into the air, breaking free and twisting his body for a counterattack. He delivers a devastating kick, to the bully's head. Akane watches with a look of pure, joyful astonishment. Seeing all three bullies defeated, Akane thinks to herself, she's strong. She realizes Hinata only seemed weak because of his relic. Without it, she's actually incredibly strong. Hinata coolly asks the downed bully if he wants to continue, but the boy defiantly tells him to take this. The bully with the orange beanie gets back up, aiming a cannon-like relic at Hinata. Pow! The relic unleashes a massive blast of white energy. Bam! The energy beam strikes Hinata head-on, throwing him off his feet. He is sent hurtling backward through the air from the sheer force of the impact. He lands hard, skidding to a stop and digging his fingers into the asphalt. TCH, the bully with the relic, lowers his weapon, thinking he might have missed slightly. Hinata looks at his hand, puzzled by what just happened. The bully realizes with a start that Hinata used a sacred artifact and nervously suggests calling the police. The female onlookers yell at the bullies to run, warning them that they're done for if the police arrive. Cursing, the bully with the orange beanie vows revenge as he and his friends flee the scene. Akane rushes to Hinata's side, worriedly asking if he's okay after taking a direct hit. He reassures her he's fine, surprised to find there's almost no damage at all. As Hinata turns to leave, Akane stops him, asking why he isn't curious about her fight. He asks if she wants him to explain, but when she hesitates, he respectfully decides not to ask, saying everyone has secrets. Akane asks why he helped her, but Hinata denies ever having helped her before. Hinata advises Akane to go visit who she came to see, leaving her touched by his concern. As he walks away, Akane reflects that she once thought him pathetic for never fighting back, but now she realizes he's actually a decent person. Clutching a bouquet behind her back, the scene transitions to a busy school hallway as Hinata walks past other students. Suddenly, Akane appears behind him with a cheerful smile, getting his attention. Catching up to him, she explains she forgot to properly thank him for saving her the day before. Wham! Suddenly, a pipe smashes into the back of Hinata's head, catching him completely off guard. The force of the blow sends him sprawling onto the hallway floor. The three bullies from yesterday appear, the leader sarcastically noting that he's late. The bully with the orange beanie smirks, mockingly thanking him for yesterday and reminding him they're schoolmates. Akane and her friend watch in horror, the friend wondering how Hinata angered the bullies. Akane tries to intervene, but the bullies dismiss her, surrounding Hinata and declaring that at school, they can do as they please. Sitting up, Hinata retorts that they sound just like the E-class losers they despise. Furious, the bully yells not to be compared to trash and lunges at Hinata. Hinata swiftly dodges the punch, preparing a powerful counterattack. Pow! The bully activates a massive golden gauntlet, easily blocking Hinata's kick. He confidently declares that with a sacred artifact, Hinata is completely outmatched. The giant golden hand clamps down on Hinata's leg, trapping him. Leaning in, the bully promises to make Hinata's life a living hell until graduation. Smack! An unseen object suddenly strikes the bully in the back of the head. Akane glares defiantly, having thrown her own artifact, while her friend cries out her name in shock. She explains her artifact is an emission type that's far superior to the bully's. The bully smirks menacingly, asking if she wants him to demonstrate his power on Hinata. Bam, he slams Hinata's head into the ground using his own cannon relic. The vicious blow sends Hinata skidding across the hallway floor. As Akane screams at him, the bully nonchalantly says he just gave Hinata a plausible excuse for his injuries. Getting up, Hinata is shocked to realize he barely feels any pain from the attack. He recalls the fight from yesterday, confused how he can be so durable without his suit. A shocking possibility dawns on him as he questions what has actually grown stronger. He realizes with a jolt that it wasn't his suit that leveled up. It was him. The bully watches in confusion as Hinata gets up, wondering if he somehow went too easy on him. A determined blue light flares in Hinata's eyes as he finds his resolve. Surrounded by a blue aura, he charges forward, declaring he is no longer. A confident grin spreads across his face as he prepares to unleash his newfound power. The weakest of the weak. Pow! His glowing fist collides with the golden gauntlet in a burst of energy. The bully with the white cap cries out in shocked agony from the impact. In a whirlwind of motion, Hinata sends the bully flying backward. Bam! The bully smashes into the wall, his friends watching in stunned disbelief. The other students, including a red-haired boy, stare in astonishment at the scene. The leader can't believe it, muttering that the giant hand artifact should be able to stop a rhino. He then wonders how Hinata is even standing after taking a direct hit from his own artifact. On the ground, the defeated bully groans in pain as his friends rush to his side. Putting on a brave face, the bully claims he was just caught by surprise and is totally fine. The leader rationalizes that his own artifact failed, only because his attack didn't connect properly. Hinata assesses the situation, realizing his revenge skill was weak because he took so little damage. He worries about not having a finishing move, but a determined look crosses his face. Clenching his fists, he declares he's done just taking abuse from everyone. A teacher rushes down the hall, demanding to know what all the commotion is about. Tisk, the bully with the orange beanie, dismisses the fight as annoying, deciding it's no longer worth it. Akane and her friend watch as the confrontation is broken up. The red-haired boy, Takayuki, scoffs that he was scared for nothing, mocking Hinata as a worm that squirms when stepped on. Takayuki's friend thinks they should be cautious, but Takayuki laughs it off, vowing to beat Hinata later, while his friend internally worries about how easily the giant hand artifact was blocked. Realizing Hinata is unscratched after fighting Class C, the friend concludes that Hinata has gotten much stronger. A notification announces lunchtime as Hinata walks through the now calm school hallway. Hiding in a bathroom stall, Hinata reflects on his sacred artifact, realizing its power isn't just for suit enhancement. The truth dawns on him. His artifact strengthens his own body, not just the suit he wears. He examines a holographic stat screen, wondering if his passive abilities can be used without the suit, and questioning the reason. He decides it's a minor advantage, mostly useful for surprise attacks, since he'll wear the suit for real fights anyway. He flushes the toilet, recognizing his biggest problem is a lack of offensive power. Contemplating how to reach the next level, he worries about not having any finishing moves. As he exits the bathroom, Takayuki is waiting, jokingly telling him he could have just said he needed to go. Takayuki slings an arm around Hinata's shoulders, condescendingly saying he was about to compliment him on his work. Showing off a glowing red gauntlet, Takayuki asks if it's cool. Pow! He suddenly punches Hinata in the stomach, catching him completely off guard. Holding the winded Hinata, Takayuki smirks that he was just getting into it and demands he go buy him some food. Watching from the side, Takayuki's friend notes that the direct hit didn't seem to hurt Hinata as much as it should have. He grows suspicious, concluding that Hinata is definitely hiding something. Hinata faces Takayuki, realizing he can't use his revenge skill again today, while Takayuki challenges his defiant stare. Hinata clenches his fist, preparing to fight back with his newfound strength, but stops himself, deciding to wait. Suddenly, Akane appears, stopping Takayuki and saying she needs to talk to Hinata. Surprised, Takayuki recalls that she also protected Hinata that morning. He leans in menacingly, asking if she intends to protect Hinata now. Akane angrily dismisses his question, firmly repeating that she needs to speak with Hinata. She challenges Takayuki, asking if he plans to hit a girl and calling the idea pathetic. Annoyed, Takayuki tells his friend they're leaving, and they walk away. Akane turns to Hinata and asks if he's alright, and he confirms he is. Hinata makes it clear he didn't side with her, and tells her to handle Takayuki on her own, before asking why she wanted to meet. Akane apologizes, asking if she was the reason Class C targeted him. Hinata calmly tells her not to worry, explaining he got involved on his own. On an outdoor walkway, Akane begins to tell him about her father, who fought monsters on the front lines. With a sad expression, she trails off, adding a solemn but. She reveals that her father was defeated by a monster when she was little and has been bedridden ever since. After that, their family situation worsened, forcing her mother to find ways to support them by meeting other men. Her mother began to change, bringing home a different man every single day. Akane explains that while she appreciates her mother for raising her, she couldn't accept the situation and came to this school to escape. She confesses her dream is to become a great warrior like her father, but feels her future looks bleak as a Class C student. She reveals that the Class C students knew about her financial troubles and approached her with an offer of money. Although she rejected their persistent offers, Hinata asks why she's telling him all this. She felt it was wrong to drag him into her problems without an explanation, not wanting him to misunderstand. With a cheerful grin, she says she trusted that he wouldn't go around spreading rumors. She notes that the Class C guys have been surprisingly quiet, and Hinata agrees it's true. Akane warns Hinata to stay alert at school, prompting him to retort, "Look who's talking," which she dismisses. Waving goodbye, she cheekily tells him to call her Akan, not you. Elsewhere, Takayuki fumes that their fun was interrupted, while his friend worries that Hinata will only get cockier. Cracking his knuckles, Takayuki declares they should put Hinata in his place, and his friend nervously agrees. The bully with the orange beanie is confused, wondering why Takayuki's group was fighting with Akane when Kori is hanging out with her. Making an excuse, Takayuki's friend says he forgot his wallet, and tells Takayuki to go on to the cafeteria without him. A boy with glasses watches from behind a pillar as a girl named Kaori is confronted by two other students. He worries that if Kaori is trying to protect Akane, she might get into danger herself. The boy in the orange beanie scoffs at Kaori for failing to deliver, but she coldly tells him to stop dragging it out. Kaori angrily retorts that they're the ones in trouble with their senior because she failed to show up. The boy in the orange beanie complains that pests interrupted them last time and that Akane keeps refusing their offer. A short-haired girl asks in confusion why Akane would refuse, but the boys just feign ignorance. The boy with glasses is shocked to overhear the bullies mention Akane was almost sold to a bar before she escaped to their school. He listens as Kaori claims that, since they're friends, she's advising Akane to just give up and return to her old life. With a sinister smile, Kaori says she just kindly introduced Akane to someone helpful, her hand glowing with a strange emblem. Kaori claims she's helping a friend in need, but the boy with glasses suspects she's using her sacred artifact for a darker purpose. Claiming innocence, Kaori secretly manifests her glowing purple artifact, admitting it just makes people more obedient and feel good. She uses her power on the white-cap boy, asking for his agreement, and he dazedly complies. An accomplice grabs his friend, telling Kaori to stop using her abilities on their own allies. Kaori defends the usefulness of her power, noting that since some monsters are immune, it's natural for others to prioritize attack skills. The boy in the orange beanie asks if she'll use her power this time, and she confidently says, of course. Overhearing their plan, the boy with glasses learns they intend to summon someone again, hoping to succeed this time. Elsewhere, a muscular upperclassman sits in anguish, chastised by a voice for ruining another life without holding back. Back in the hall, the bullies finalize their plan with Kaori, telling her to meet them after school tomorrow. The boy with glasses freezes in horror, realizing he's just overheard a massive conspiracy. He panics, knowing he's powerless against the Class C students, especially if their dangerous senior shows up. He thinks of asking a red-haired student named Takayuki for help, but dismisses the idea, knowing he isn't strong enough. A flash of memory shows a student being effortlessly crushed by a giant golden hand, a display of the senior's terrifying power. Looking at a glowing mark on his own hand, he considers asking someone else for help, Hinata. A spark of hope ignites within him as he realizes Hinata just might be able to stop them. The scene shifts to a quiet classroom where Akan, the pink-haired girl, sits alone, lost in memory. She recalls her childhood belief, thinking to herself, "Dad is a hero." In a flashback, a young Akane tells her father he's super strong, but he gently denies being a hero. He explains that heroes fight selflessly, but his own motivation is different. His only goal, he tells her, is to protect their family. Patting her head, he tells young Akane that a person with strong convictions is truly powerful. The happy memory fades as her father is rushed to the hospital on a stretcher, critically injured. At the hospital, a doctor informs Akane and her mother that, while he's stable, the situation is serious. Later, Akane finds her mother smoking beside her father's bed and asks her to stop. Her mother erupts in fury, kicking a table and screaming at her unconscious husband while Akane begs her to stop. She bitterly tells Akane that the hospital bills are too high to ignore. Crushing her cigarette, she coldly informs Akane that she'll have to start working after middle school. Back in the present, Akane looks at an admission guide for Valkyria National Academy, determined to acquire a rare item herself. She grips the brochure, her resolve hardening. Staring out the window, she reflects on arriving at the academy with such determination and questions what she's even doing now. After nearly giving up when placed in Class E, she wonders if she can become strong like Hinata if she just pushes herself to the limit. Suddenly, Kaori appears at the classroom door, calling out to Akane. With a sinister smile and a menacing purple aura, Kaori approaches, saying she needs to talk for a second. As Hinata walks down the hall after school, the boy with glasses follows him, hiding behind a corner. The boy hesitates, knowing school is over and he needs to say something, but he's frozen by indecision. He tries to convince himself it's none of his business. Startled, he flinches as Hinata suddenly turns around and asks if he needs something. Panicking, he realizes this is his only chance to speak up. He falters, wondering how he can ask for help after all the trouble he's caused. As Hinata prepares to walk away, the boy is left speechless with regret. Just then, he looks down and sees Kaori leading a reluctant Akane away, the sight finally forcing him to a decision. Akane looks dazed, and the boy with glasses wonders if Kaori's artifact is affecting her. The boy with glasses tries to convince himself to stay out of it, claiming it has nothing to do with him. Overcome with guilt, he curses and starts running back toward the confrontation. In a dusty warehouse, Kaori's accomplices meet with their menacing senior and his red-haired female associate. The muscular senior intimidatingly addresses the boys. His associate asks if they're sure about today, warning them not to screw up again like last time. Taking a drag from his cigarette, the senior smugly notes that thanks to a certain person, the profits have been good. Kaori arrives, dragging a listless Akane by the arm, and sarcastically says it's an honor to have their trust. The senior greets them and asks Kaori why she used the artifact, while Akane apologizes. Kaori explains that she had to use her power because things didn't go according to plan. The red-haired woman scoffs that Akane is too young, but the white-cap boy, Ishijima, insists she's fine. The woman warns the senior not to plan on keeping Akane for himself, no matter how cute she is. Kaori reminds Akane that she agreed to do the job for money. Akane lifelessly confirms she needs the money for her dad. The senior admits Kaori's artifact is terrifying, but she just laughs it off. The senior warns Kaori to be more cautious, revealing that she has a tail as the boy with glasses gasps in horror. The boy panics, realizing they've found him and that he stands no chance against someone so strong. Hiding behind a barrel, he desperately wonders if he should run. Kaori dismisses him as a weak classmate, preparing her glowing purple artifact. She confronts the boy, calling him Hagane and reminding him he wanted to join them, but he nervously denies it. With a sinister smile, she unleashes her power, trapping his reflection in her orb and declaring victory. Hagane's eyes glaze over as he succumbs to her mind control, meekly agreeing with her. The senior tells Kaori to make Hagane an accomplice to prevent him from snitching later. Forced to grab Akane, Hagane laments his paralysis and his own half-hearted sense of justice. He flashes back to being beaten, reflecting that he's always on the side of the villains. He thinks of that person who always intervenes, just as a fist flies toward him. Bam! Hagane is suddenly punched square in the jaw. The entire group is shocked by the unexpected interruption. Kaori holds her artifact, recognizing the person who just arrived. Hinata stands before them, his expression one of cold fury. Kaori angrily demands to know why Hinata is there. Akane looks up in a daze, recognizing Hinata's name. When the senior asks who Hinata is, Kaori dismisses him as the weakest student from Class E. The senior wonders what the weakest student is doing there, but Kaori simply feigns ignorance. Deciding it doesn't matter, Kaori menacingly invites Hinata to join them, readying her artifact. Hinata questions Kaori, asking if she and Akane are really friends, but she deflects the question. He presses her, asking if she even knows about Akane's difficult family situation. Kaori mockingly claims she was being considerate by introducing Akane to the job because she knew her friend needed money. Freed from the mind control, a bruised Hagane shouts that Akane never wanted this and was forced by Kaori's holy relic. Kaori realizes with annoyance that the punch snapped Hagen back to his senses. She glares at Hinata, wondering why her holy relic isn't working on him. On the ground, Hagane asks Hinata why he came, insisting he never asked for help. Hinata calmly reminds Hagane that he was about to ask for something earlier at school. He tells a stunned Hagane that he would have heard him out, especially if it was a request he was reluctant to make for Takayuki. The boy in the orange beanie scoffs at Hinata for playing hero, warning him his luck has run out. Pow! He fires a powerful projectile straight at Hinata. Hinata effortlessly deflects the attack with his bare hand. Boom! The projectile explodes harmlessly against a far wall. Akane looks on in shock while Takayuki's friend glares with grim determination. The bully with the orange beanie dismisses a block as a lucky move, but Takayuki's friend insists it was more than just luck. He recalls the fight, wondering what Hinata's holy relic is, as Akane remembers thinking it had no abilities. Realizing that no relic is powerless, he concludes with certainty that Hinata must be hiding something. Elsewhere, a girl named Kaori wonders why her purple energy relic isn't affecting Hinata, as its effects should have appeared by now. A system notification reveals Hinata's new passive skill, Willpower Boost Level 1, which grants him unknown mental resistance. In a flashback, Hinata flees from the bully with the giant golden hand artifact. Tisk, the bully with the white cap, realizes Hinata has seen through his attack. Hinata clenches his fist, a symbol glowing on his hand, as he thinks that relics shouldn't be used to harm people. He declares to the assembled group that holy relics exist to protect people from monsters. Takayuki's friend and his companions burst into laughter, finding Hinata's idealism hilarious. Wiping a tear from his eye, he condescendingly tells Hinata that he doesn't understand how the world works. He explains that very few can join official guilds, leaving most people unable to make a living with their relics. He suggests it would be a waste for Hinata not to use his hard-won relic to make money. As his legs glow with power, Hinata considers the prospect of earning money. He asks a sad-looking, pink-haired girl if it's right to prey on those working hard for a better future. Takayuki's friend smirks, saying he doesn't care who gets sacrificed as long as it isn't him. Putting his arm around an uneasy Akane, he declares that they would sell out their own friends for money. The pink-haired girl sheds a tear, agreeing that it's a wise decision. Takayuki's friend mockingly calls Hinata's morals foolish, enraging him. Hinata charges forward, but the bully with the white cap intercepts him with his giant golden hand. The bully smirks, taunting Hinata with a casual, "Too bad." Takayuki's friend looks on, unimpressed, thinking Hinata is weaker than he initially believed. Hinata furiously pummels the massive golden gauntlet with a barrage of strikes. Thinking of an older man, he silently rages at how much bullies have to torment the weak to be satisfied. Remembering Akane's plight, he seethes at how they think they can use the weak for their own gain. His anger boils over at their exploitative worldview. "Don't make me laugh," he roars, his eyes blazing with fury. A red energy crackles around the glowing symbol on his hand as he unleashes his power. In a stunning display of strength, he grabs the bully by his artifact and swings him around. He violently slams the bully into the warehouse floor. Standing over his defeated foes, Hinata challenges their philosophy, asking if being weak is truly a sin. A notification appears for his Holy Relic, Suit of Rage, which grants increased strength through anger. Now shrouded in a fiery red aura, Hinata resolves to become overwhelmingly strong. He declares he will continue to grow stronger, until people like them are gone forever. The onlookers, including Takayuki's friend, stare in utter disbelief as Hinata transforms. A boy with glasses, a scrape on his cheek, cries out in shock that the suit has changed. As Takayuki's friend questions the relic's nature, Akane watches in horror, knowing this isn't right. Transformed, Hinata lunges at Takayuki's friend with blinding speed. He lands a devastating blow to the man's gut. Takayuki's friend reels back, stunned by the unexpected force of the attack. Yura! He fights back with a desperate kick against the powered-up Hinata. Akane cries out in alarm, "Senior Sion?" as he glares, clutching his side in pain. Sion questions how Hinata is getting stronger even while cornered. Wondering if it's even possible, a blue relic on his wrist begins to glow. He warns Hinata not to get cocky as he prepares a makeshift weapon. He reveals that he was formerly in Class B as he douses his wrist relic. Declaring their innate abilities are on different levels, he unleashes a swirling projectile of water. Hinata braces for impact, blocking the attack with his forearms as sparks fly. Sion looks on in disbelief, realizing his own hand should have broken from the force of that block. Sion watches in confusion as Hinata's movements improve, wondering what is happening. Dismissing Hinata's power, Sion smirks that he still lacks true experience. Sion dashes forward with surprising speed as Hinata braces for the attack. Whap! A stream of water wraps around Hinata, instantly binding him. Sion grins, revealing he also had allies with binding abilities helping him. Bam! The watery bonds violently constrict, as Sion scoffs that Hinata should have seen it coming. He taunts the trapped Hinata, asking if it feels like being hit by a heavy metal block. Sion explains his relic is designed for combat against people and can be used freely with just a sprinkle of water. Summoning a water spirit, Sion declares that Hinata chose the wrong opponent. Whoosh! He launches the watery projectile directly at the immobilized Hinata. Thwack! The attack slams squarely into Hinata's back. The pink-haired girl aims her cannon at the boy with glasses, furiously asking if he really thought he could control her. She apologizes sarcastically for helping him come to his senses before slapping him across the face. Kaori watches grimly as the pink-haired girl stands over her defeated tormentor. Pow! Kaori suddenly unleashes her own glowing pink orb. Whoosh! Her attack deflects a shot from the pink-haired girl's cannon, protecting an unseen target. Kaori coolly replies that the reason should be obvious. With a sly smile, she reveals her motive. She can make money this way. The pink-haired girl is left speechless by the shocking betrayal. Kaori condescendingly questions her stunned look. She mocks the pink-haired girl, calling her Relic worthless trash and saying she should be grateful. The pink-haired girl clenches the handle of her weapon with renewed rage. Bam! She's suddenly blasted from the side and sent flying. The bully with the orange beanie smirks, declaring this is what Class E gets for rebelling. The scene shows Hinata, still trapped and helpless in his bonds. The pink-haired girl lies defeated on the floor, her weapon just out of reach. It's over, Sion declares, watching as his allies stand over their defeated opponents. He menacingly tells Hinata not to worry, promising to brainwash him later. Sion smirks at Kaori, noting that things would have been much worse if she hadn't been there. On the ground, the defeated pink-haired girl stirs. Frustrated, she despairs that she's too weak to get revenge and feels worthless. As tears stream down her face, her sorrow transforms into fierce determination. Crying, she screams that she will work hard and become much stronger. With a final push, she reaches for her weapon, ready to fight back. Pow! She swings her cannon, landing a surprise blow right on Sion's head. As Sion is distracted, the water bonds binding Hinata suddenly dissolve, freeing him. Through her tears, the pink-haired girl looks at Hinata and asks if she can rely on him. Facing Sion with renewed purpose, Hinata confidently tells her to leave it to him. Sion calls Hinata stupid, mocking that he can easily be restrained again as the bindings reappear in a threatening vision. A single word burns in Hinata's mind as his resolve hardens: revenge. Pow! A furious red aura erupts from his body. Sion looks over, startled and confused by the sudden surge of power. Hinata confronts him, tired of hearing him belittle Class E as trash. What's going on? Sion shouts, stunned by the immense pressure radiating from Hinata. Bam! Hinata unleashes a ferocious punch, demanding to know if those at the bottom can't improve. A wave of panic hits Sion, as he realizes something is terribly wrong. He stomps the ground, trying to activate his power, but screams in frustration as it fails to work. Sion stares in disbelief at Hinata, who is now shrouded in a menacing crimson energy. With his fist glowing, Hinata glares at them and promises to show them the true power of trash. Sion looks up in terror, screaming for him to stop. Pow! Hinata ignores his plea, smashing his fist into Sion's face. He ruthlessly slams Sion to the ground as the others watch in shock. Grabbing him by the collar, Hinata prepares to deliver another brutal blow. As he continues his relentless assault, a horrified Akane cries out his name. Hinata stands over the beaten Sion, glowing with a crimson aura. With his enemies defeated, Hinata tells the senior to stop messing around. Cursing, the bully with the orange beanie takes aim with his cannon. He fires, but Hinata effortlessly swats the projectile away. The bully stares in disbelief, realizing this overwhelming power is no coincidence. In an instant, Hinata closes the distance and grabs the stunned bully. Lifting him into the air, Hinata warns him never to mess with them again. With a look of pure contempt, he says he doesn't have time for people like them. The terrified bully chokes out that he understands, begging for mercy. Hinata turns his back on his defeated foes, leaving them trembling on the floor. A memory surfaces of Akane's father telling her that true power comes from strong resolve. Back in the present, Akane gives a smiling Hinata a triumphant high five. Unseen, a woman with glasses watches them from a doorway while on a phone call. She smirks, reporting the unexpected outcome and asking her superior what they will do now. In his office, the school's principal listens intently. Watching the incident on a screen, the principal states that students who go too far aren't needed and orders the situation to be handled. He reflects that their investigation into school disturbances has yielded a surprising discovery. Looking at Hinata and Akane, the principal says he's looking forward to the next evaluation exam. The scene shifts to a grand, futuristic view of the Valkyria Academy. Students crowd around a bulletin board in a school hallway. An expulsion notice reveals that the Class C bullies and Kaori have been kicked out of the academy. Akane asks Hinata if he reported them, but he says he didn't, leading her to believe they were already under watch. She notes that aside from Kaori, the other three had a notoriously bad reputation anyway. Nearby, a red-haired student and his friend with glasses wonder what all the commotion is about. Akane suggests Hinata could talk to the boy with glasses, but he seems hesitant, making her recall his odd behavior from yesterday. She remembers how he simply said he hadn't done anything and walked away when she tried to thank him. Akane suddenly proposes they eat lunch together, shouting, "Lonely people unite!" Leaving a stunned Hinata to agree. They sit together on a park bench, enjoying a quiet lunch in the sun. Akane expresses surprise, asking about a relic that can add new traits. Hinata corrects her, saying it should develop traits, and wonders why he didn't have that ability before. She theorizes it was a weak, unnoticed trait, but Hinata confidently dismisses the idea. He admits he was too busy fighting the day before to properly check his status. A screen reveals his Rage Suit has granted him offense-focused abilities like Strength Increase and Rage Fist. He realizes his suit evolves based on his emotions and will continue to get stronger, though the next trigger is a mystery. Clenching the symbol on his hand, he resolves to grow even more powerful. Getting his attention, Akane offers him a piece of her lunch. She stands up with sudden determination and asks to train with him. Remembering her tormentor, she vows to become stronger than him, even if she can't catch up to Hinata right away. She admits she has been trying, and Hinata quietly confirms that he knows. He explains that relics supplement physical abilities based on one's traits and proficiency. He encourages her, saying the fact she survived the bully's attack with minor injuries is proof of her hard work. His words seem to land, and Akane stands with a renewed sense of purpose. She blushes, flustered and inspired by his praise. Shaking it off, she clenches her fists, declaring that she still needs to try harder. She holds out her hand, making a quiet promise to herself to get even stronger. Akane reaches out with a brilliant smile, thanking him for what happened yesterday. Elsewhere, a blue-haired girl crosses her arms, remarking that the weaklings seem to be enjoying themselves. The blue-haired girl approaches a blonde student, asking if she has thought about her offer. She proposes the blonde student join her team for the re-evaluation exam, saying it would be reassuring. After being rejected, she tells the blonde student to let her know if she changes her mind. A flashback reveals that the blue-haired girl's three companions have bad reputations for associating with the expelled bullies. The blonde student wonders why a girl named Shizuku would recruit them, questioning if she only cares about strength. Back at lunch, Hinata eats quietly while Akane sports a mischievous grin. As Shizuku walks away, one of her allies warns her that her plan could be risky. In a gym, the students of Class E begin their intense physical training. The Class E homeroom teacher, Takashima Gonzo, explains that as physical abilities grow, sacred artifacts often improve alongside them. He yells that even though Class E is lagging behind, they still have a chance. As Takashima urges them to prove their class assignment was a mistake, Hinata clenches his fist with determination. Nearby, a red-haired student sweats, looking exhausted and annoyed. Later, in the classroom, Takashima announces that a re-evaluation test will be held soon. He warns the students that if they don't turn things around now, escaping Class E will be hopeless. The test is explained to not only assess sacred artifacts, but also physical abilities and judgment. Takashima emphasizes that this year, teamwork is the most crucial factor for success. The students murmur in confusion, asking how the teams for the test will be divided. He reveals they must form their own teams, regardless of their current class. The red-haired student scoffs at teaming up with Class E losers, as the teacher confirms that recruiting is part of the test. The red-haired student clenches his fist, angry that being in Class E has ruined everything. He glares at Hinata, identifying him as the root of his troubles. After class, the students file out into the school hallway. While having a drink, Akane asks Hinata what he's going to do now. Hinata starts planning their team for the re-evaluation test, but is suddenly interrupted by a voice calling out, "Hey." The red-haired student and his friend approach, mocking Hinata, and asking what idiot would team up with him. Hinata asks why they've come, and the red-haired student simply says, "Well, you know." He grabs Hinata's collar, accusing him of being cocky and demanding he go buy his lunch. As Akane watches in shock, Hinata stands his ground and tells the bully to get it himself. The bully turns to Akane, questioning her decision to team up with the loser, and she confidently confirms it's the plan. He turns to his nervous friend Hagane and pressures him to agree. The bully glares menacingly at Hagane for his hesitation, calling him a jerk. Intervening, Akane declares she is teaming up with Takayuki, calling it the wiser decision. She dismisses them, telling Takayuki and Hagane to figure out their own plan, as she's too busy to deal with them. Akane tells Hinata they should leave, and he agrees to go with her. As they walk away, they overhear someone say they can't bring Hagane along. Akane wishes aloud that someone else would team up with them. She quickly encourages Hinata, telling him he should be confident in his strength. Tapping his shoulder, she says they should surprise everyone in the test, since others still think he's weak. She observes that the atmosphere around Hinata feels different than before. With an intrigued smile, she thinks to herself that he might actually be interesting. Enraged, Takayuki kicks over a desk as Hagane nervously tells him to calm down. Takayuki turns his glare on the terrified Hagane, calling his name. He remembers that the test takes place in a D-class portal, where unexpected accidents are known to occur. A smirk crosses his face, as he muses that those accidents might just be artificially created. He wonders if another accident might happen again this year. Takayuki's eyes gleam with malice as he thinks of staging an accident. Elsewhere, someone types furiously at a computer before slamming their fist down in frustration. In a text conversation, an anonymous user asks if that guy is still attending school. The boy with glasses confirms he is, explaining that an unofficial student list is publicly available. The chat reveals the unofficial list is used for secret, illegal betting on who gets the best scores in the reevaluation exam. The betting favorites are shown to be Minase Shizuku and Shirohane Sachi, both with strong odds. In stark contrast, Hinata is ranked dead last, making him the ultimate underdog with 137x odds. Meanwhile, Hinata trains relentlessly in the woods, pushing his body to its limits. Roar! His training is interrupted as a massive, monstrous bear lunges at him. Pow! With a single punch, Hinata effortlessly defeats the beast. Catching his breath, he seems satisfied with his newfound strength. He compares his two powers, the Rage Suit and the Indomitable Suit, realizing the Rage Suit's incredible strength comes at the cost of his stamina. He concludes he must become fundamentally stronger to wield the Rage Suit's full power freely. Deciding to use his more stable Indomitable Suit, he's suddenly greeted by Akane calling his name. She apologizes for being late due to a supplementary class, and they briefly discuss the school's academic requirements. Akane asks if Hinata has ever needed extra classes, and he simply says no. When she asks why not, he deflects the question, asking why she wants to know. A flashback reveals he studies with a girl with light purple hair, recalling that physical training alone is not enough. He tells Akane he just studies a bit before bed, and she compliments his diligence. Akane enthusiastically lifts her weapon, ready to begin their energetic training session. She mentions the upcoming reevaluation exam, and Hinata soberly confirms it's on his mind. Ugh! A sudden blast of purple energy explodes beside them, and Hinata shields Akane as they're thrown back. Ha! Hinata lands on his feet, completely bewildered by the surprise attack. Akane frantically asks what's happening as they scan their surroundings for the attacker. The blonde student, Sachi, emerges from the trees, noting that Hinata has changed. She comments that his old self would never have been able to dodge that attack. Hinata stays silent, warily watching her approach. He asks who she is, and the blonde girl seems momentarily surprised he doesn't recognize her. Hinata quickly corrects himself, saying he does know who she is. He identifies her as Shirohane Sachi, a Class A student rumored to be as strong as Shizuku. Sachi approaches them, casually mentioning that Shizuku has been acting strangely lately. Declaring she wants to test him, Sachi suddenly swings her glowing staff at Hinata. Huh? Hinata reacts in an instant, blocking the swift attack with his arm. He firmly grips the staff, completely halting her powerful strike. With a quick twist, he throws Sachi off balance, sending her flipping backward. She recovers flawlessly, landing on her staff and gathering energy for a powerful counterattack. Pow! She fires a piercing beam of purple energy straight from her staff. The blast misses Hinata and detonates violently against the forest floor. Sachi whips her staff around, creating a cloud of dust to conceal her next move. She rushes through the dust, but Hinata easily blocks another strike aimed at his head. In a flash, he twists her arm and sends her weapon flying from her grasp. Slight, impressed smile appears on Sachi's face. Retrieving her staff, she launches into a graceful, sweeping attack. The glowing blade of her weapon stops just an inch from Hinata's neck. With a smile, she tells him that he has definitely changed. She notes that he has either grown immensely or was simply hiding his true power. Still on guard, Hinata cautiously asks what she wants from him. Sachi's expression softens into a friendly, reassuring smile. She explains that while everyone wants to team up with her, she'd rather choose someone interesting. Turning to Hinata with a bright smile, she extends her hand and asks him to join her team. Without a moment's hesitation, Hinata looks her in the eye and replies, "Sure." Delighted by his answer, Sachi beams with a happy, closed-eye smile. Sachi stands stunned by his sudden rejection, asking him to repeat what he said. Utterly bewildered, Sachi asks again what he meant by his answer. With a disbelieving smile, she wonders aloud if she misheard him. Hinata bluntly states, "No way," refusing her offer to team up, which only seems to amuse her. Sachi demands to know why, and he explains he can't just team up with someone who attacked him out of the blue. He admits that teaming up with her would likely land him in a better class. However, he flashes back to being ostracized in the past, reasoning that everyone would just hate him for using her and wouldn't acknowledge his own skills. He clenches his fist, declaring he has his own reasons for needing a guild and must earn recognition through his own strength. His eyes burn with resolve as he stares at her. His decision made. Sachi looks back at him, her expression turning serious as she takes in his words. Her serious expression breaks into a smile as she tells him he's truly an interesting person. Waving goodbye, she encourages him to hurry up and climb to the top, promising to wait for him there. As Sachi walks away into the sunset, Hinata and Akane are left to watch her go. Akane furiously grabs Hinata's face, scolding him for wasting a golden opportunity and asking if he even heard Sachi's offer. She tries to reason with him, explaining that Sachi wasn't interested in him personally, but in his intriguing potential. Akane concludes that they can't expect teamwork from someone like that, and it's better for them to focus on getting good marks as a duo. She walks off with a sly look, seemingly accepting his decision. Hinata ponders the skill level of a top Class A student, as Akane smiles knowingly beside him. He breaks down her abilities, realizing she is exceptional in speed, tactics, and power. Hinata admits to himself that Sachi was going easy on him, and he likely would have lost, even with his rage suit. Humbled, he acknowledges he still has a long way to go. Annoyed at his recent cockiness, he checks his suit's update list, determined to improve so he can match her power. A system notification appears, granting him an audience with the bosun, leaving him to wonder what it means. The scene shifts to the imposing headquarters of the Kansai Otherworldly Creature Countermeasures. A regular meeting of the Guild Alliance is underway in a high-tech conference room. The Minister of Defense, Hagane Renpei, opens the agenda by discussing the investigation into recent portal appearances. The S-rank Phoenix Guildmaster, Hagura Hinji, reports that unfortunately, they have nothing new to share. The S-rank Deldoris Guildmaster, Sherry Truman, addresses the others who enter the portals. She and the S-rank Victor Guildmaster, Shio Ogai, ask if anyone has discovered anything at all. Hagura Hinji cheerfully claims they are completely in the dark and are busy trying to close the portals themselves. Sherry and Shio both state they would have reported any findings, confirming they are also in the dark. Hagura slyly suggests they might be keeping quiet, as their work would disappear if the portals were truly solved. Sherry scoffs, telling him not to lump her in with his petty kind, prompting the minister to clear his throat and regain control. The S-rank Heavenly Gift Guildmaster, Hayakane Hureha, soberly reports that the intervals between portal appearances are shortening. The other guildmasters listen with grim expressions as they process the dire news. Jerry says they can handle it for now, but a vision of overwhelming demonic forces suggests a disastrous future if they fail. A flashback shows a massive, red-eyed monster devastating a city, while civilians flee in terror. The Minister of Defense asks with dread if another catastrophe is on the horizon. Heineken confirms that monsters are getting stronger, and the next catastrophe will be far more destructive than the last. Hagura pushes his glasses up, concluding they will need more talented individuals to face the coming threat. The minister agrees and asks about the progress of training their successors. The Valkyria school principal, Tsushima Atsushi, reports that they have some incredibly talented individuals developing at the academy. He announces an upcoming re-evaluation exam, which Sherry finds promising. Hagura asks if there are any particular students they should watch, and the principal confirms there are. The principal identifies 2 first years, Minase Shizuku and Shirahane Sachi, as showing particular promise. An image shows the 2 girls in action, with the text explaining Sachi's sacred relic, Gei Bulg, generates explosive energy. Sherry notes that both have powerful offensive relics, and Shio Ogai muses that Shizuku could be a good recruit for his guild. When asked if there are others worth mentioning, the principal tells them to see for themselves at the exam. Hagura sighs, wishing they could train successors who are skilled in defense. The principal asks why, and Hagura explains they still have a defensive role vacancy that opened up a while back. Hagura Hinji slyly notes that the son of the person who previously held the vacant defensive position is a student at their school. Sherry Truman correctly identifies the student as Asahi Hinata. Shio Ogai dismisses Hinata as the kid who turns naked, and Sherry adds that his relic can't even use weapons. While the principal confirms Hinata is still a student, Hagura admits he doesn't understand the situation. Hagura muses that Hinata must be stubborn or stupid to continue with a useless relic, but the principal hints that might not be the case. With a thoughtful expression, the principal considers Hinata's potential. He confidently predicts that, surprisingly, Hinata might be this year's standout performer. The day of the re-evaluation exam arrives with a burst of fireworks as a voice calls for everyone's attention. A female announcer hypes up the incredible energy from the massive crowd gathered for the school event. She announces that Valkyria School's re-evaluation exam will once again be a major public event. The exam will take place inside a spontaneously generated D-rank portal. Watching from a distance, Sherry Truman silently observes the bustling festival grounds. Standing with the principal, she notes that the event is as lively as ever this year. The principal finds the crowd's excitement surprising for an exam known for serious injuries, but suggests people need a distraction from depressing news. As Sherry and the principal overlook the crowd, 2 students below question his reasoning. Sherry thanks the principal for providing security, but he insists training the next generation is a guild's duty. Her attention drifts to a particular student in the crowd, the blonde boy, accompanied by a girl with light blue hair. When the principal asks how she knows them, Sherry replies that she's grateful and that the girl with him is just as impressive. She explains that as a guildmaster, she can discern talent just by looking, her gaze fixed on the powerful-looking duo. Elsewhere, another pair of students, a blonde boy in a hoodie and a girl with a purple bear, walk through the crowd. A blonde girl enjoying some food wonders aloud if there are any students worth watching this year. The camera focuses on Hinata and Akane, standing together with determined expressions. The exam venue is revealed to be a D-class portal known as the Twisted Garden. Inside, a terrified student trembles with her sword as online spectators comment on the exam's start. Kaya! She screams in terror as a massive red beast looms over her. In a flash of white, a powerful figure intervenes, stopping the monster's attack cold. A man from an organized guild steps in with his team, telling the students their journey ends here. A video replay of the rescue plays for the crowd, earning praise for the S-Rank Guild in the live chat. As guild members carry out the rescued students, an official announces the area has been secured. Drones patrol the sky, monitoring the portal to ensure the safety of the exam venue. Online viewers react with mixed feelings, some calling the rescues pathetic, while others commend the students' courage. The rules are explained. Students must fight monsters within the portal to earn evaluation points. First, they can earn points by collecting magic stones from the monsters they hunt. Gathering valuable items like ores and plants from within the portal will also grant evaluation points. Additionally, drones are monitoring to evaluate teamwork, as one student's shield is shattered by an orc. An archer takes aim, ready to support his teammate. The guildmasters watch the live footage transmitted by the drones to assess the students. The announcer declares a 60-minute time limit and wonders which student will stand out. Her question hangs in the air as the camera lingers on Hinata and Akane in the crowd. Akane expresses her unease with the spectacle, and Hinata asks her what she means. She complains that while they are taking the exam seriously, everyone else is treating it like a variety show. Turning to him, Akane asks if the whole circus-like atmosphere doesn't annoy him. Hinata looks up confidently, questioning how he could possibly be annoyed. Just then, Takayuki and Hagane arrive, with sarcastically telling Hinata he's the center of attention. Hinata questions his statement as Akane groans, sensing trouble is brewing. Takayuki mockingly asks if Hinata is unaware that the reevaluation exam is a hot topic on the internet. Getting uncomfortably close, he sneers that people are expecting a spectacle from Hinata, who glares back silently. Takayuki dismissively claims he just happened to be passing by when he noticed them. He puts a hand on Hinata's shoulder, telling him there's no need to be so tense. Hagane holds Takayuki back, urging him not to fight because it's an important day for them all. Takayuki offers a dismissive smirk as Hinata watches him, remaining silent. An announcement declares the event is starting and instructs students to gather at the portal. Waving a casual goodbye, Takayuki tells Hagane to do his best, much to Hagane's visible annoyance. Takayuki scoffs as he turns and walks away from Hinata and his companions. A pink-haired girl with Hinata notes she can't read his thoughts, while he remains quiet and introspective. An instructor rallies the students before the portal, asking if they are ready for the exam. He clenches his fist, reminding them that this is a life-or-death exam. The instructor holds up a red device, telling them to use it in case of an emergency. He declares the Deldora's guild will rescue them, as Sherry Truman and her guild members look on. The second group of students charges into the portal with fierce determination. On the live feed, Sachi and Shizuku are shown as viewers comment on what monsters they've become. Next, Takayuki and Hagane charge forward, with viewers eager to see how much they've grown. As another pair's footsteps are heard, the audience wonders if they're just average. Hinata and a new pink-haired partner Zara race through the Twisted Garden. The live chat explodes, recognizing Hinata from the broadcasting accident and questioning the change in his suit's design. Viewers comment on Zara, noting that while teaming with her is special, they'll probably be weak. Hinata runs onward, his expression sharp and alert. They suddenly encounter a massive red beast, and the chat immediately declares it's game over. Ah! The monster lets out a terrifying roar. Crash. It slams its fist into the ground with devastating force. Panicked viewers demand that the Deldoris Guild hurry up and rescue the students. Pow. The beast is suddenly blasted backwards, stunning the audience, who wonder what's happening. Hinata appears in his red rage suit, having saved the day, as viewers recognize him and the suit's new form. Watching the monitor, Hagure Hinji leans forward, captivated by the unexpected development. His eyes widen with disbelief and intrigue. The massive crowd watching the public broadcast is frozen in shock by Hinata's sudden appearance. In the crowd, a student points at the screen, exclaiming that it could be him. The blindfolded boy and Akane identify the fighter as someone from E-Class. Sherry Truman remarks it's the first time she's seen a form-changing sacred item, and the principal notes she doesn't seem surprised. Sherry recalls everyone dismissed Hinata as the quote, naked suit guy, but she knows the principal is ruthless with the untalented. A flashback shows rejected students who couldn't even get into E-Class walking away in defeat. Sherry concludes it's only natural to think there must be something special about him. The principal gives a sly smile, wondering aloud if Hinata will actually be expelled. Inside the portal, Hinata lands gracefully on the beast's arm after his attack. He parries a swipe and blocks the monster's massive, glowing fist with his own. Grrr! The monster growls, enraged by the small human's defiance. Roar! It lunges forward in a furious, clawed assault. Pow! The beast is hit again, making viewers wonder what's going on. It's Zara, who opens fire with her cannon, providing a barrage of covering fire. Leaping back, Hinata tells her that's enough support. The monster's eyes glow as Hinata prepares to unleash a skill. Pow! He slams his rage fist directly into the monster's skull. The monster disintegrates, leaving a single pink magic stone behind. Hinata lands hard, exhausted from the powerful blow. His suit reverts to the indomitable form as he mutters, "Oops." He picks up the magic stone, noting that his hand absorbed the results. He gives Zara a thumbs up for her assist, and she returns the gesture, praising his powerful punch. A satisfied bruised smile appears on Hinata's face. Zara cheers that their training is paying off, and while Hinata agrees, he grimaces, thinking about the power of the Rage Fist. A diagram explains his technique, a powerful move that releases all stored energy in a single, devastating blow. Hinata reflects that this charge skill came with the Rage suit, marveling at his progress in just 2 weeks, despite its limitations. Zara urgently shouts, "Hinata, behind you," as a giant insectoid monster looms into view. But Zara has already dispatched the monster, coolly asking if she isn't pretty good at this. Hinata agrees, recognizing that his partner's support is covering his weaknesses as he strives to improve, while Zara is shown blasting monsters away. Her sacred item's power and rate of fire have increased, and her determined expression shows she's ready for more. "They're coming from that direction, Hinata," she calls out, realizing her own enemy detection ability has improved. Three menacing hobgoblins creep out from the dark woods. Zara identifies the three hobgoblins, and Hinata simply replies, "Got it," as they prepare to engage. Hinata charges forward with a determined battle face, his partner right behind him. Pow Pow Zara provides covering fire, taking out two hobgoblins and leaving the third stunned and confused. Kick. The final hobgoblin screams as Hinata closes in, his fist glowing with red energy. Pow, he shatters the hobgoblin's club with a single, supercharged punch. With a follow-up blow, his energized fist smashes directly into the monster's face. A final, furious uppercut sends the hobgoblin flying into the air. As Hinata lands, a single pink magic stone clatters to the forest floor. Hinata confidently holds up the stone, thinking they can easily pass the test, as Zara cheers that they did it again. Standing together in the clearing, the two resolve to force the school to reevaluate their potential. Elsewhere, Takayuki punches a tree in frustration as Hagane nervously asks him how it went. Takayuki just groans in response. "Son of a bitch," he screams, furiously punching the tree with his gauntlet. He repeatedly smashes the tree, cursing Hinata's name with every blow. Seething with rage, he can't believe that piece of trash managed to defeat an ogre. Takayuki wonders aloud if Hinata's newfound strength is because of his new partner, Zara. Ag! He lets out a final roar of frustration, his gauntlet shattering the tree bark. He furiously realizes Hinata must have been going easy on him all this time, and rages at his perceived cockiness. Grabbing a hesitant Hagane, Takayuki declares they're sticking to the original plan. He glares at Hagane, repeating his command, and his terrified partner can only stutter his agreement. Hagane stands silently, nervously clutching his support weapon. He grimaces, looking at the bubbling fluids inside his relic. Takayuki thinks back on his original plan, to use the ogre to quickly make Hinata's team give up. Now he decides he will have to unleash the portal's boss, a terrifying chimeric beast. A flashback shows a young Hagane watching news reports of the interdimensional war, where the Deldora's Guild's heroics were common. He dreamed of being a hero too, but that dream shattered, leaving him a jaded student holding a useless relic. He reflects on his relic, the Steel Factor, a support weapon given to him. He recalls his helplessness, unable to fight even weak goblins on his own due to his lack of offensive power. Unsurprisingly, he ended up in Class E, staring at his disappointing results. Needing an offensive partner, he used it as an excuse to ingratiate himself with Takayuki. A flashback shows Takayuki shoving another student aside in the classroom. But at the same time, Hagane felt a sense of relief, glad someone else was doing the fighting. He remembers being publicly humiliated by Takayuki, who poured milk on his head, and thinking at least there were people worse than him. Watching the live feed of the exam, Hagane is stunned to see how much stronger Hinata has become. He marvels that Hinata even forced the very bullies who looked down on him to their knees. He clenches his fist, confused and angry at Hinata's success. He washes his hands, wondering why he feels this way. And remembering Takayuki's confrontational behavior, he reflects that even though he knows he shouldn't, he ends up participating in the bullying. Back in the present, Hagane fires a flare into the night sky. Takayuki and his other cronies see the signal from their hiding spot and decide it's time to go. As Hagane takes aim at the sleeping portal boss, Takayuki tells him he will leave the rest to him and to aim well. Whoosh! Hagane fires the syringe-like projectile, striking the beast's neck and causing its eye to snap open, glowing with red fury. Gua, the awakened portal boss, a two-headed chimeric beast, lets out a terrifying roar. Watching from a safe distance, Takayuki smirks, noting how quickly Hagane's berserk pheromone potion worked. He explains the potion's effect. The beast will attack the target smeared with it, revealing the glowing handprint he placed on Hinata. A nervous Hagane admits he didn't expect it to affect the portal boss and feels something is wrong. Hagane glares after Takayuki, thinking him truly hopeless for seeing himself as a victim after orchestrating such a vile plan. Hagane watches in confusion as Takayuki and his other crony begin to walk away. "Wait a minute," Hagane calls out in panic. "You're leaving?" "Of course," Takayuki replies, turning back with a bottle in hand. Splash. Ah. Takayuki douses Hagane with a liquid, declaring they need to destroy the evidence. Drenched, Hagane turns in horror to see the enraged, two-headed beast now lumbering towards him. Ugh! Wah! The beast swats him aside with a single, brutal swipe. Stunned and terrified, Hagane clutches his head, screaming, "Well, why?" Takayuki casually explains from a distance that if the portal boss moves, it will trigger an investigation. The horrifying realization dawns on Hagane. They're framing him to avoid getting caught and expelled. Takayuki taunts him, saying he won't die if he doesn't run away, as the monster closes in on the terrified Hagane. Panicked, Hagane reaches for his emergency device but finds it's gone, realizing Takayuki planned to betray him from the start. His former partner flees into the woods, leaving him to his fate. With the beast pursuing him, Hagane realizes he doesn't have time to mask the scent and only has one potion left. He clutches the last vial, considering his only option. Ha ha ha. A desperate, crazed laugh escapes him as he starts running, thinking, "I really..." Elsewhere, Hinata surveys their collected magic stones, satisfied that they've gathered quite a bit. Zara cheers that at this rate, she can make it to Class D, and Hinata confidently agrees. A sudden motion blurs past them in the forest. Pow! A vial suddenly shatters against Hinata's chest, splashing him and startling Zara. Ugh! As Zara asks if he's okay, Hinata stares at the mysterious liquid, wondering what it is and who threw it. He looks over to see Hagane collapsed on the ground, calling out his name in shock. Exhausted and bleeding, Hagane reassures him that it's all right now and that Hinata won't be attacked anymore. Seeing Hagane's state, Zara warns Hinata that he's dangerous and tells him to stay away. Hagane faces the charging beast, resolved to make his final stand, declaring, quote, "I'm stopping here." Just as the monster's giant fist is about to crush Hagane, Hinata dashes in to intercept the blow. Ugh. Hinata strains, taking the full impact of the massive paw to shield Hagane. He kneels, asking if Hagane is alive, who weakly confirms that he is. Hagane asks why he did it, and Hinata replies that it's not yet decided if his life ends here. Hinata stands firm before the towering beast, declaring he doesn't know how to give up. The crowd watching the live feed murmurs in alarm, questioning if the situation is okay. Sherry Truman orders an immediate rescue, identifying the monster as a C2 ranked creature and warning her team not to let their guard down. She and the principal stare grimly at the screen, with the principal concluding this is a deliberately caused accident. Sherry notes that portal bosses don't normally leave the core. She explains that's because if the core is destroyed, the entire portal collapses. The principal covers his face, sighing that he knows and has never seen someone act so recklessly. He speculates that while Hagane might be the culprit, it seems he was deceived too. Watching Hinata prepare to fight, the principal wonders if they should place their hopes on him for now. The enraged chimeric beast charges forward with immense speed. The force of the beast's approach sends a shockwave through the area, startling Hinata and Zara. Kwang! The monster lets out a furious roar, with Zara yelling for Hinata to watch out. Hinata grabs the dazed Hagane, preparing to move him out of the beast's path. Ah! Oh my god! He shoves Hagane to safety, shouting, "Stay back!" Hinata clenches his fists, realizing the impact from his last big attack still lingers, weakening him. Facing the powered-up beast, he grimly accepts that the skill gap is too wide. Even so, he summons his remaining energy, his fist glowing with red power, determined to fight. Determined to stand his ground, Hinata charges forward into the fray. The beast swipes with its massive paw, but Hinata slides underneath the attack. Ah! He channels his remaining energy into a desperate, glowing punch. Pow! His fist connects, but only with the creature's thick mane. Thwack! The beast's serpent tail lashes out, impaling Hinata through the stomach. Ugh! He looks down in shock and disbelief at the grievous wound. As he's flung through the air, Zara screams his name in terror. She rushes to his side as he collapses, frantically asking if he's okay. Gasping for air, he shoves her away, yelling for her to stay back as she screams in protest. He intercepts another brutal attack, shielding Zara with his own body. The impact sends him flying backward through the forest. He crashes violently to the ground, skidding to a halt. Eck. Trembling and bleeding, Hinata struggles back to his knees. Watching from a distance, a stunned Higani asks why he keeps getting up. Zara cries that they can't handle this on their own, but a panting, bloodied Hinata remains defiant. He clutches his bleeding hand, considering using his revenge skill to deal some damage. But as he faces the towering chimera, he doubts he can defeat it and wonders what to do. Suddenly, Hagane runs between them, yelling for Hinata to stop. Hagane accepts full responsibility, urging Hinata to run since the beast is only after him. Turning to face his doom, Hagane bravely challenges the monster to come at him. The two-headed beast lunges forward with a roar. In a flash, Hinata leaps onto the monster's back, taking it by surprise. Pow! He delivers a powerful elbow strike to the back of its head. The beast's other head snaps around, catching Hinata in its massive jaws. Zara and Hagane scream in horror as Hinata is captured, with Hagane yelling that he told him to run. Caught in the monster's mouth, Hinata looks down, bruised but resolute. Hagane asks why he didn't escape, and Hinata replies that he would if they could all escape together. Hagane recalls Hinata's past heroics, realizing he never abandoned those in danger. He tearfully concludes that if he runs now, he will never be able to face Hinata again. The beast's serpent tail rears back, preparing for a final, deadly strike. Hagane looks on with resolve, whispering Hinata's name. As the beast's tails descend, Hinata thinks that the Deldora's guild must be on their way. He grits his teeth, determined to hold on just a little longer. Zara watches in horror as the fatal blow begins to land. Hinata, she screams as the serpent tail strikes down with crushing force. From his hiding spot, Takayuki watches the aftermath in silence. A system window appears, announcing an achievement for the condition of death with a reward of permission to meet. Hinata's eyes snap open, finding himself staring up at a peaceful, cloudy sky. He floats weightlessly in an endless sea of clouds, utterly bewildered. A voice welcomes him, noting that he has finally arrived. A mysterious silver-haired girl smirks, remarking that she expected him sooner. Seated upon a throne in the sky, she formally greets him as "my master." Hinata stares at the girl, confused, asking where he is and who she is. He clutches his head, remembering he was just fighting the portal boss. The girl suddenly appears beside him, clarifying that he's on the verge of death, much to his shock. She explains that she summoned him here, and he should be grateful as it's the only thing keeping him alive. Hinata watches her float away, trying to process what just happened. He stares at the enigmatic girl, wondering just what kind of person she is. She stands before him, stating that this is the mental world she controls. Her expression darkens ominously as she continues her explanation. She pokes his chest, revealing that this entire mental space exists inside his suit. Hinata is stunned, asking if this world is contained within his holy relic. The mysterious girl conjures a swirling orb, preparing to show him something. The orb reveals the beast's serpent tail about to strike his real body, which is suspended in a protective bubble. She casually suggests that if he returns now, he might be able to dodge the fatal blow. He asks if this means she helped him, and she begrudgingly confirms that she did. Relieved, he smiles and gently pats her on the head, apologizing for doubting her. HMPH. She slaps his hand away, flustered, and warns him it's too early to feel relieved. She grimly states that if things continue as they are, he will still die. She explains she can only help him this one time because her own strength is low, leaving him to ask what to do. She beckons him closer, offering some little assistance while he looks on with confusion. She suddenly jabs her fingers directly into both of his eyes. "Ah!" He screams in agony as she calmly tells him to endure the slight adjustment she's made. As he writhes in pain, she explains that this opponent isn't someone he should be unable to defeat. While he recovers, she sternly criticizes his fighting style as being too rigid. A blue light glows in his enhanced eye as she instructs him to observe his opponent clearly. She gives a smug and satisfied smirk, pleased with her handiwork. Standing proudly, she reveals that she is merely a nameless traitor. His newly glowing eyes widen as he questions her startling declaration. The mental world begins to dissolve as she announces their time is up, shocking him. He desperately reaches for her fading form, protesting that he still has questions. Her voice echoes, telling him to get stronger if he wants answers and reminding him he hasn't passed the test yet. Her intense, glowing eyes fill his vision as she tauntingly asks if he isn't curious. She questions why powerful weapons like the holy relics were given to humanity in the first place. Visions of monstrous beings fill the void as she continues, asking who brought war to the human world, as images of terrified civilians fleeing destruction flash before him. Back in the dissolving plane, a bewildered Hinata asks what she's talking about. He collapses, watching her fade into the distance and weakly questioning who she is. Flash. His eyes snap open back in the real world, now glowing with a brilliant blue power. Kneeling in despair, Zara stares at the aftermath in disbelief, whispering, "No way." Pow! The serpent tail that struck him shatters into pieces, and Zara looks up in shock. Hinata stands completely unharmed, having moved at impossible speed as Zara cries out his name. He effortlessly glides past the chimeric beast, leaving it stunned by his sudden agility. He reassures Zara that it was a close call, but firmly rejects her plea to run away. His eyes glowing with power, he faces down the beast, which glares back with menacing red eyes. The two-headed beast lunges forward, charging him with ferocious speed. The beast's claws graze his chest, but he's barely scratched, leaving Zara in shock. One of the beast's heads roars in frustration at its failed attack. The second head watches its partner intently, coordinating their next move. He deftly dodges another swipe, the attack's trajectory visible as a streak of light. He weaves through a flurry of blows as an unseen observer marvels at his suddenly improved dodging skills. He sidesteps an attack, calmly identifying it as coming from the right side. Pivoting to avoid another blow, he realizes he can now see all of its movements clearly. He perceives not just the attacks, but the beast's sinister aura and killing intent, a terrifying sight. Thanks to his new vision, he can now see the opponent perfectly, including a glowing weak spot. He charges his fist with red energy, preparing to strike the revealed vulnerability. Elsewhere, the rescue team rushes through the woods, having located the fight and preparing to intervene. From his hiding spot, Takayuki spots the approaching rescuers and orders them to hold on. Takayuki watches the impossible fight unfold, his expression a mixture of shock and disbelief. Hinata's eyes narrow as red energy swirls around him, activating his skill, Revenge. With his blue eyes glowing and red energy swirling, Hinata surges forward to meet the beast. He closes the distance on the roaring, two-headed monster, appearing tiny in comparison. His fist pulses with a supercharged red aura as he prepares to land the final blow. With a look of pure determination, he unleashes the full power of his attack. Rage. He channels the skill's power, his body exploding with vengeful energy. Fist. His glowing punch connects squarely with the beast's weak spot. Rage. A close-up shows the immense power gathering in his glowing blue eyes and crimson fist. Fist. The impact sends a shockwave through the chimera's body. Kia. The beast lets out an agonized shriek as Hinata grits his teeth, pushing his power to the limit. His punch shatters the monster's defenses with overwhelming force. The massive portal boss is sent flying backward, completely overpowered by the single strike. Watching the live feed, a stunned Sherry Truman can only mutter, "This is," as the beast is defeated on screen. The principal watches with a satisfied, knowing smile. Live chat explodes as viewers question if the guy in the loser suit actually defeated the boss. Viewers react with disbelief and amusement, with one exclaiming, "Who would have seen this coming?" LOL. Two students watching on a phone express their amazement, admitting they thought it was over. Spectators lament not placing bets on him, realizing he's guaranteed top grades now. A young girl in a hospital bed watches the stream with a joyful, hopeful expression. At the viewing area, students murmur in shock, wondering if the victor is truly from the lowest-ranked Class E. Another student confirms that he is indeed from Class E. The blonde student and his blue-haired companion watch intently, with the blonde remarking, "Well?" He recalls Hinata's bullies and concludes that they had this reversal of fortune coming. A sly smirk spreads across his face as he admits the situation is getting interesting. The defeated chimera dissolves into light, leaving a massive crater in the ground as Hinata stands victorious. Hinata stumbles from exhaustion, but reassures a concerned Zara and Hagane that he's okay. Hinata helps the injured Hagane to his feet, supported by a relieved Zara. Hidden in the trees, Takayuki watches in disbelief, wondering what just happened. He flashes back to the fight, remembering how Hinata's movements suddenly improved drastically. His crony watches in fear as Takayuki clutches his head, enraged that his plan has failed. Takayuki turns to his nervous crony with a dark smile, saying it's time to act. He clenches his fist, declaring this is their only chance to finish Hinata. His partner hesitates, pointing out that Hinata is with his friends now. What? Takayuki furiously grabs him, threateningly asking if he wants to get expelled for their actions. Elsewhere, a student in a black uniform reports to his master by phone, calling Hinata an outrageous person. On the other end of the call, an exasperated Sherry Truman orders the student's immediate arrest, but is told to wait. The principal, standing with Sherry, calmly suggests they just watch for now. He reasons that if Takayuki's villainy isn't dealt with now, he'll just try something similar again. Sherry questions letting the students handle it themselves, and the principal confirms that is his intent. Looking at Hinata's exhausted state on her phone, Sherry worries he's at his limit. The principal agrees to intervene if things go south, but feels confident it will be okay for now. A drone captures Takayuki and his crony sneaking through the forest towards Hinata's group. Takayuki drags his reluctant partner along, determined to attack while Hinata is weakened. With a crazed grin, Takayuki charges forward, his gauntlets ready for battle. Hinata senses the attack, turning to shield Zara and Hagane. Hinata! Takayuki screams as he lunges, preparing to strike. Dai throws a powerful punch, aiming to take down the exhausted hero. Takayuki smirks, confident his surprise attack will succeed. Hinata effortlessly catches the blow, noting to himself that the skill gap is quite large. Takayuki grits his teeth in shock as his punch is stopped cold. Calling him a damn son of a bitch, Hinata easily overpowers the stunned bully. With a grunt, Hinata twists Takayuki's arm behind his back, demonstrating his complete dominance. Hinata follows up with a brutal punch, sending the bloodied bully flying across the clearing. Standing over the defeated Takayuki, Hinata coldly accuses him of orchestrating the entire portal incident. Takayuki weakly tells him that's enough already. Hinata flashes a cruel smile and delivers another powerful punch to Takayuki's face. Huh? Takayuki looks up in dazed confusion, just as Hinata smashes his head forward in a vicious headbutt. Holding the dazed bully by his collar, Hinata dismisses his actions as childish. He explains that he never bothered with him until now, precisely because his schemes were so immature. Takayuki flashes back to his past bullying, enraged by Hinata's claim that he was never a concern. Eck! He trembles in pure, unadulterated rage at the ultimate humiliation. Screaming that he's not kidding. Takayuki lunges forward in a final desperate attack. Hinata easily deflects the sloppy punch, and Takayuki cries out as the blow is neutralized. Hinata stands tall over his defeated foe as Zara and Hagane watch from a safe distance. As Takayuki lies unconscious, Hinata remarks that he didn't even need to use his holy relic. Zara shouts Hinata's name as Takayuki's panicked crony makes a run for it. Looking at Hinata's photo, Sherry Truman declares the matter settled, a result of hard work versus laziness. Sherry smirks victoriously while the principal beside her shares a knowing, satisfied smile. As the ordeal is concluded, Hinata walks away with a relieved Zara and Hagane. The day after the exam dawns over the futuristic academy city. In the school hallway, students chatter, with one complaining about a boring math class. Two female students gasp as they spot someone approaching. A student walks confidently down the corridor, drawing the attention of his peers. The girls whisper to each other about how incredible yesterday's events were. Hinata walks through the hall with Zara, now the center of everyone's attention. She points out that the same students who ignored them before are now watching intently. Zara cynically remarks on their sudden, Udir-level stance shift in attitude. A group of male students watch them pass, whispering amongst themselves. The atmosphere in the hallway shifts as students begin to cheer and wave at Hinata. Hinata and a blushing Zara share a moment, taking in their newfound popularity. With a confident wink, Zara declares that they successfully changed everyone's perceptions. A faint smile crosses Hinata's lips as he acknowledges their victory. Their walk is interrupted as another person comes into view down the hallway. Hinata's expression becomes serious as he spots who is approaching. A stern-looking girl with blue hair and her blindfolded companion walk toward them. The blue-haired girl stares forward with a cold, determined expression. Hinata watches her approach, his own expression unreadable. The blue-haired girl states that she has somewhat reevaluated her opinion of him. "But that's all," she adds coolly, brushing past him without a second glance. She declares that a Class A student would have won much more easily. Zara glares after her, annoyed by her condescending attitude. Hinata calmly explains that the blue-haired girl is always like that, much to Zara's surprise. He tells Zara to take it as a compliment, but she quickly asks what his relationship is with her. The blindfolded student follows the blue-haired girl, but not before flashing a sinister grin over his shoulder. As evening falls, the school building is cast in the warm glow of sunset. In his room, Hagane kneels on the floor, quietly packing a suitcase. Adjusting his glasses, he confirms to himself, "All right." He stands and gives his empty room one last look, satisfied that he hasn't forgotten anything. With his bags packed, he pauses at the door, ready to leave. Hagane walks away from the building, stepping out into the light. Hagane looks up in surprise from his doorway, asking if someone is leaving already. He sees Asahi Hinata waiting outside and calls out his name, surprised to see him. Hagane explains that Hinata is just in time, as he wanted to say goodbye before leaving. Hinata hesitates, struggling to find the right words to say to his departing friend. Hagane reassures him not to worry, taking full responsibility for his own actions. He reflects that the outcome isn't so bad, remembering Takayuki being sent to juvenile detention for attempted murder. Hagane explains he was only expelled because he was under threat and that he has no complaints about it. Seeing Hinata's pitying expression, Hagane asks him not to look at him like that. Reaching into his bag, Hagane says he wants to give him something in advance. He presses a glowing object into Hinata's palm, declaring that he hasn't given up on his own path. Hinata questions the mysterious vial, which Hagane explains is a recovery potion he made with his holy relic. He recalls a meeting in the principal's office, where the principal offered him a new path. In the memory, the principal inspects the potion with a sly, satisfied smile. The principal offers him a letter of recommendation, acknowledging the value of his potions. Back in the present, Hagane holds up a potion gun, admitting he lacks talent as a warrior. Holding his unique weapon, he asserts that it doesn't mean he's powerless to contribute. He recalls Hinata's relentless battles, explaining that seeing him refuse to give up was inspiring. With newfound resolve, Hagane declares that he won't wallow in despair either. As Hinata listens intently, Hagane says there is one last thing he wants to tell him. Hagane bows deeply, offering a sincere and heartfelt apology for everything. Looking up with a grateful smile, he extends his hand and thanks Hinata for everything. Hinata returns the sentiment with a warm, understanding smile of his own. They share a firm handshake, confirming their friendship and parting on good terms as the sun sets. The scene transitions to a grand view of the futuristic academy at dusk. In his office, the principal remarks to Sherry Truman that another year has ended safely. Sherry sarcastically questions his idea of safe, and the principal concedes that it was indeed quite risky. He smirks, adding that despite the risks, they certainly got a good show out of it. The principal notes that even the Deldora's guildmaster was pleased by the events. The red-haired guildmaster gives an order to welcome the student in the suit as an intern for her mercenaries. The principal chuckles, pleased that Hinata left such a good impression on the guildmaster. His expression grows serious as he states that first years are now officially allowed to join the front lines. However, he continues, they will need a guild to sponsor them first. Sherry points out the condition that students must be in Class C or higher, questioning if Hinata from Class E can meet the requirements. The principal simply offers a confident, knowing smile in response. The class placement retest results are revealed. Yakumo Akane is now in Class C, and Asahi Hinata has jumped to Class B. The scene shifts to the new classroom, where other students watch Asahi Hinata take his seat. Students whisper among themselves, recognizing the famous transfer student from Class E. As the teacher lectures, the atmosphere is noted as being a big difference from the lax Class E. Other students in the class are seen studying diligently. A student reflects on the sense of growth in the new class as her friends invite her to the training portal. A spiky-haired student leans over Hinata's desk, mockingly asking the rookie how he likes Class B. He introduces himself as Arakawa Subaru, an established member of Class B. With a smug grin, Subaru asks Hinata to share his secret for cheating his way up the ranks. Hinata calmly looks back, questioning the logic of Subaru's baseless accusation. Subaru dismisses his composure, stating that a jump from Class E to B is unheard of. He explains that the entire school is curious how someone from Class E pulled it off. Slam. Subaru slams his hand on the desk, demanding to know if Hinata truly has the skills to be there. He leans in menacingly, asking if the rumors about the Deldoras Guild helping him are true. Annoyed by Hinata's silent smirk, Subaru furiously shouts, asking why he's laughing. Hinata calmly looks past him, advising him not to be satisfied with Class B and to aim for Class A instead. A teacher explains that with only one student switching from Class A, the skill gap is clearly significant. From his desk, Arakawa Subaru raises his hand, questioning what the teacher is talking about. He argues that since the training portal is unusable, they are just messing around in class. The teacher concedes that Subaru has a good point. He then reveals a provisional license, proof of ability for students who reached Class C or higher. The students murmur in confusion, questioning the purpose of a provisional license. The teacher explains that the license grants them access to D and C class practical portals, shocking the students. However, he adds a condition. They must intern with a government-recognized guild like Deldoras or Heavenly. He tells the class that most guild members gain critical, real-world experience during their school days. Hinata thoughtfully considers the idea of internships, knowing the risks are worth it to reach higher places. The scene shifts to the Class 1B hallway during lunchtime. Zara appears at the classroom door, cheerfully greeting Hinata. She asks how Class B is treating him, and he admits to feeling a bit out of place. Zara complains that even though she came from Class E, she hates being judged with the same look. She vents her annoyance about people like Takayuki, and Hinata agrees that every class has them. Hinata asks if she heard about the internships, and she excitedly confirms she has. Zara explains that interns can actually get paid for their activities, which catches Hinata's attention. He asks how much one can earn, and she explains it varies but can be substantial. She notes that it definitely pays better than farming training portal goblins for a measly 150 yen. Hinata realizes this income could help with his mother's and Hikari's hospital bills. He checks his status, concluding that relying on the training portal for growth is hitting its limit. Seeing it as a 2-in-1 deal, Hinata immediately asks where he can apply for an internship. Zara tells him to check the bulletin board near the faculty room, noting it's always crowded. As Hinata rushes to leave, Zara stops him, reminding him there's a screening process and no need to hurry. She smiles, suggesting they apply together after school. Suddenly, Yakumo Akane leans in, eagerly wanting to apply with them, leaving Zara stunned. Zara demands to know why Akane is here, and Akane simply asks, why? Akane explains that since Class A is next door, her presence isn't strange, but Hinata silently disagrees. She smiles at Hinata, remarking that he came up to Class B as he promised. Akane cheerfully suggests they intern together, but Hinata bluntly tells her no. Akane points accusingly at Hinata, who stands his ground while Zara watches. Heartbroken, Akane asks why, and Hinata explains he can't train properly with her around. Watching from his desk, Arakawa Subaru scoffs at the Class A elitist and declares her talent doesn't matter if he's there. Subaru wonders why she's with the E-Class guy and decides he should stay near her for safety. He thinks about exposing Hinata's identity, but then casually asks if he is okay. Chumakane lets out a huge sneeze, then wonders aloud what it could possibly mean. After school, the sun sets over the academy building. Hinata hurries into an elevator. On his way to his room, despite his rejection, Sachi ended up applying for the same internship, showing off her form beside Zara and assigning Hinata. Hinata reviews his application, noting the target is a D-class portal. A disembodied voice warns that, with his current skills, he's in serious danger. The voice continues, stating it wouldn't be strange for him to die hopelessly anywhere. Hinata turns the question back on her, equally confused by her presence. He reminds her she said to meet after he got stronger, but she clarifies she never made it a condition. The girl floats over to a book, stating his growth was so slow she had to check on him personally. Hinata is left speechless as she asks why he's so surprised. Hinata stares in stunned silence at the mysterious girl in his room. The silver-haired girl sits on his bed with a book, asking Hinata who he is exactly. After a moment of thought, she decides on a name for herself. She smiles slyly, telling him to call her Nanashi, the nameless one. The next day, students walk through the academy hallway as the bell rings. In the classroom, Zara notices Hinata's distracted expression and asks if something is wrong. As Hinata dismisses her concern, the invisible Nanashi whispers that he can't lie. Cornered, Hinata concedes that he does have something to ask. He points to the empty space beside him, asking Zara if she sees anything there, but she's just confused. Zara jumps back in fear, but Hinata quickly admits he was only kidding. Hinata confirms to himself that Nanashi is indeed invisible to other people. He recalls the system screen that appears only for him, with Nanashi looking on smugly. Akane casually joins them, and Hinata internally remarks on her nonchalant entrance. Zara asks Akane if she can see something next to Hinata. Seeing Akane's equally confused reaction, Hinata confirms that's how people should react, finding her behavior strange. Annoyed, Nanashi impatiently asks when they are going to start training. Nanashi bluntly warns Hinata he could die at any moment with his current skills. As he notes, she's been like this since yesterday. He recalls her dismissing him as weak, realizing she won't help him until he's stronger. As Nanashi sits at a nearby desk, Hinata wonders what her true objective is. A man in a tracksuit appears at the classroom door, announcing his arrival. Zara happily recognizes the man, exclaiming, "It's Mr. Gonzo." Gonzo proudly addresses the former Class E students, amazed they've reached classes B and C. Hinata cuts to the chase, asking Gonzo why he has come to their class. Gonzo explains he's there to assist students who have been authorized by the teacher holding out some papers. He congratulates both Zara and Akane, saying the guild has approved their class assignments. Gonzo summons the two girls for a meeting after school, but Hinata asks what about him. Laughing, Gonzo bluntly tells Hinata he didn't make the cut, as the last spot went to a Class A student. From his seat, Subaru deduces that the team needed a long-range supporter, prioritizing Akane over Hinata. The shocking realization hits him. If Hinata failed, that means he failed as well. Subaru slumps over his desk in utter despair as the others look on. Akane tries to back out, but Gonzo warns that quitting now means a 6-month ban from all raids. As Gonzo tries to console a dejected Subaru, Zara wonders why Akane is acting so strangely. Gonzo then turns his attention back to a stoic Hinata. He reveals that Hinata has received a special offer, an internship with the S-rank Guild Del Doris. Hinata is left in stunned silence by the incredible offer. Later, in the training portal, Hinata pants for breath after defeating another monster. He wipes his brow and spots Nanashi sitting patiently on a nearby rock. With a bored expression, Nanashi observes that he has completely cleared the area. A notification informs Hinata he has reached his limit and can no longer absorb Hobgoblin Mana Stones. Collapsing from exhaustion, Hinata questions if he can truly get stronger in the training portal. His status window reveals a penalty on his rage suit, and he realizes he's just 5 strength points shy of using it freely. He wonders if there's another way to grow, but Nanashi flatly tells him it's hopeless. She bluntly states that entering a real battle in his current state is a death sentence. She asks him about the special eyes she granted him, but he can only hesitate. A system notification highlights his warrior's Mystic Eye ability. He recalls how the eye allows him to foresee an enemy's attack, a useful but limited power. Ugh. He clutches his face in pain, remembering that the ability doesn't last long. Nanashi blames his low intelligence for the skill's weakness, prompting him to ask what intelligence even is. She explains that intelligence is the power to manifest supernatural phenomena through understanding. To put it simply, she says, it is the power needed to activate magic. Hinata is shocked by the concept of magic, but Nanashi finds his surprise amusing, given the existence of even more powerful relics. Hinata muses that he's heard of magic using monsters, but never humans, and Nanashi cryptically asks if that's so. Nanashi explains that magic can manifest in anyone with the right trigger, but the resulting talents vary widely. Sigh. She composes herself, simply saying, anyway. Announcing she'll use a different method, Nanashi leaps into action, leaving Hinata to question her plan. Hinata is shocked to hear her say that he already has the ability to challenge a C-grade portal. However, she clarifies that he isn't yet able to fully utilize that ability. With a wave of her hand, Nanashi conjures a shimmering blue portal on the training grounds. Standing before the crackling portal, she commands him to listen carefully if he truly wants to get stronger. Hinata stares in disbelief at the mysterious portal entrance before him. With renewed resolve, he walks into the portal as Nanashi watches him go. He arrives in a silent, desolate stone hallway. Walking forward, he notes that he never knew a place like this existed. Suddenly, a spike erupts from the wall, impaling him through the chest as he gasps in shock. He's brutally pierced by a barrage of spikes, his hard work flashing before his eyes. As he collapses, he reflects on all the painful days he has endured. Compared to this sudden brutal end, his past struggles seem to mean nothing. More spikes descend from the ceiling, ready to deliver the final blow. He looks up in absolute horror, utterly helpless. "Huh," he cries out in utter confusion, his eyes wide with shock. He finds himself lying on the grass, completely unharmed and panting in bewilderment. Looking at his hand, he wonders if he's actually alive. Nanashi explains that the portal she made only transports the spirit, not the physical body. She mockingly asks if he feels indignant or thinks it's unfair. She sternly tells him not to be spoiled, questioning if he expects death to be a reasonable process. As she walks away, she tells him that with his current attitude, he'll never get stronger, leaving him confused. She explains that just as with his rage suit, its awakening has specific conditions. Hinata asks if emotional intensity is the trigger, and she confirms it's only one of the conditions. Poking his chest, she states the suit is too complex to be strengthened by emotions alone. Hinata anxiously asks if this means he must clear that horrifying dungeon for the suit's next awakening. Nanashi gives a cryptic response, simply calling it a shortcut. She turns and suggests they change locations. The scene transitions to the academy, under a moonlit sky. Hinata's spirit returns through a portal, collapsing onto his dorm room floor, where Nanashi is already waiting. Sitting on his bed, Nanashi begins to explain how to awaken the suit. She states he must demonstrate both power and heart, and Hinata clenches his fist with determination. With a grim smile, Nanashi reminds him that death is an unreasonable force. He must overcome it. Hinata's face hardens with resolve, ready for the challenge. Egg back in the simulation, he screams in agony as he's impaled by spikes again. He frantically flees from a massive rolling boulder. He is crushed, blood spilling from his mouth as the boulder rolls over him. Back in reality, he collapses, clutching his chest and crying out in pain about the suit. He pants heavily on the floor, trying to recover as Nanashi watches impassively from the bed. Nanashi rests her chin on her hand, observing his suffering with a detached curiosity. Hinata sweats and pants, enduring the phantom pains of his repeated deaths. Undeterred, he gets to his feet and steps back into the training portal. Nanashi now stands before him, asking if he has lost his nerve yet. She thoughtfully reflects on the nature of people in his world. With a gentle smile, she asks if such people aren't called heroes. The next morning, Hinata walks through the academy, the night's brutal training still fresh in his mind. He reflects on his failure, admitting he couldn't bring himself to re-enter the simulation after that. He remembers the simulated death, realizing this new challenge is unlike anything he's faced before. The pain was horrifyingly real, an experience of true death, not just a near miss. He recalls Nanashi giving up on him, calling him a worthless slug before retreating into her treasure tool. Cursing his own weakness, he clenches his fist in frustration. Knock, knock. He arrives at the meeting room door, steeling himself for what's inside. He opens the door to find a room of stern-faced students already waiting for the internship briefing. He sees the elite attendees, including the composed, blue-haired Shizuhu Minase from Class A. The introductions continue, revealing Haito Hibishima, Chloe Budget, and Anho Hihine, all top students from Class A. Realizing he's surrounded by Class A elites, a mocking voice suddenly addresses him as the ex-Class E student. The spiky-haired boy taunts Hinata, suggesting a Deldoris internship is far beyond his capabilities. Hinata retorts, asking the spiky-haired boy why he isn't with his own Class B students, provoking an angry outburst. The boy boasts about being a true Class B student, claiming his skills are far superior, but Hinata silently dismisses the idea. Anho coolly cuts in, telling the boy that his failure to see the skill gap is precisely why he's stuck in Class B. Stunned, the boy sputters as Anho points out his hypocrisy, asking Chloe for confirmation with a sweet smile. Chloe, the hooded student, shuts down the conversation with a simple, "not interested." He then dismisses the spiky-haired boy as not even worth playing with, making him erupt in fury. The boy demands they test who's worthy, while Hinata watches the chaotic confrontation with bewilderment. Suddenly, an invisible blade slices through the air, stopping just shy of impaling the boy and drawing blood. He freezes, a bead of sweat running down his face as he realizes how close he came to death. The boy suddenly recalls Chloe's infamous treasure tool, the Phantom Dancer, which controls invisible blades. Hinata, able to see the invisible blades swirling around, wonders if Chloe knows his secret is out. Chloe's attention shifts to the silent, blindfolded Hato, who offers no reaction. A confident smirk plays on Hato's lips, hinting he's aware of more than he lets on. The tension in the room is palpable, as Hinata sits sweating beside a stoic Shizuhu. Shizuhu coldly asks if he finds it pathetic to be sweating so much, but he insists it's not from fear. She tells him to withdraw if he's going to be so pathetic, prompting the spiky-haired boy to angrily defend him. Shizuhu coldly states that weaklings are just in the way, leaving Hinata stunned by her harsh words. A man enters, apologizing for the early meeting, but explaining it was their only available time slot. He gathers the tense students, directing them to come closer for the briefing. He announces that the internship begins in exactly 1 week, capturing everyone's attention. He stresses the importance of preparation, clenching a fist that bears a strange circular mark. Back in his room, Hinata tosses his jacket aside and calls out for Nanashi. He stands resolutely, demanding she open the portal to the spiritual world once more. Nanashi materializes, surprised by his sudden surge of motivation. She correctly guesses Shizuhu's words spurred him into action, confirming she heard everything. He clenches his fist, admitting he couldn't argue because he's a coward who's too afraid to face things head-on. But he vows that being called weak won't make him give up, declaring his heart is not so fragile. Nanashi looks on with a small, knowing smile, seemingly pleased by his newfound fire. She encourages his spirit, telling him not to give up easily as he walks toward his trial. With renewed purpose, he steps back into the treacherous, torch-lit corridor of the spirit dungeon. This time, his eyes dart around, scanning for the traps he now knows are there. He gracefully leaps and weaves between the deadly spikes as they shoot out from the walls. He lands safely on the other side, having successfully navigated the first lethal trap. He reminds himself to look closely and think before every move, understanding the dungeon's logic. He now sees that everything, including the design of the floor tiles, happens for a reason. His senses scream as he perceives another attack hurtling directly toward him. He quickly assesses the trap's origin, deducing that the path to his left is a dead end. Recalling Nanashi's words, he realizes the left path leads nowhere, forcing him to find another way. With newfound speed, he charges forward through the deadly dungeon corridor. He grits his teeth in concentration as a barrage of spikes narrowly misses his face. He executes a perfect backflip, narrowly evading a wall of spikes that erupts from the floor. Landing safely, he glares ahead, his resolve hardening with each successfully dodged trap. He lunges forward, his movements now faster and more decisive than before. He anticipates the next attack, his eyes tracking the spikes before they even move. Trapped in a cage of spears, he's reminded of the core lesson, think and dodge. Leaping over spinning saw blades, he understands he must predict the outcome of his actions. He looks back in sudden panic, realizing he's made a critical mistake. His footing gone, he plummets helplessly into a dark, hidden pit. As he falls into the abyss, the walls begin to close in, threatening to crush him. The scene shifts to Hinata running on the academy track, pushing his physical limits. Back in his room, he trains relentlessly while Nanashi sits on his back, amused as the suit glows with power. Again and again, his spirit is thrown back into the dungeon to face lethal traps. As he sits in his room, the rage suit glows with faint runes, reacting to his grueling training. In the simulation, he is brutally crushed by the boulder one last time. He continues his physical training, Nanashi weighing him down as he endures the phantom pain. A torch flickers, signaling his return to the treacherous spirit dungeon. He gets smashed by a massive swinging log trap, but refuses to stay down. He picks himself up, a look of grim determination on his face as he advances. He finally reaches the end of the hall, where a formidable winged demon awaits. Rumble, the gargoyle-like monster roars, its presence shaking the very foundations of the dungeon. Unafraid, Hinata stands his ground, ready to confront the final boss. With his eyes glowing red, he charges forward, ready to strike the beast head-on. A system notification appears. His courage and determination have resonated with the mysterious suit. He has unlocked new skills: concentration, which slows his perception of time, and ultra reflex. The day of the internship arrives, with a portal already open in the city. 2 guild members confirm their preparations, having already contacted the item buyers. Hatsumata Jin, the submaster of the S-rank Guild Childras, addresses Guildmaster Sherry. The red-haired Sherry confirms to Jin that preparations for the raid are nearly complete. Jin notes her good mood, and she explains it's because students from Valkyria Academy are joining them. Sherry reveals her excitement stems from a specific student they were aiming for, Minase-san, finally arriving. She adds that the kid in the suit is also coming, but Jin seems to have forgotten who that is. Jin vaguely recalls the boy's name as Asahi, remembering he didn't seem particularly special last time. Sherry dismisses Hinata, noting he struggled against the Chimera and is likely weaker than any of them. Her expression brightens as she announces the student's arrival, led by a friendly-faced representative. The student representative formally greets Sherry, thanking her on behalf of the group. Shizuhu offers a deep, respectful bow, thanking the guildmaster for the opportunity. The entire group of students, including Hinata, bows in unison, asking the guild to take care of them. Shizuhu glances sideways, her expression sharp and focused for the mission ahead. Standing beside Shizuhu, Hinata remains stoic, the group falling silent as they await instructions. Sherry begins the briefing, announcing their objective, to challenge an unexplored C-rank portal. She explains the standard raid formation, dividing the students into 3 teams, frontline, middle, and rear. She assigns the 4 Class A students to the frontline team, which she will lead personally. The 2 Class B students, Hinata and the spiky-haired boy, are assigned to the middle guard with Submaster Jin. Sherry states their goal is to defeat the boss and close the portal, ordering the students to stick close. The spiky-haired boy tells Hinata this is a real battle and vows to protect him, but warns that anything can happen. Shizuhu asks if even Deldoris challenges C-rank portals, and Sherry confidently replies, of course. Sherry declares that their duty is to protect people's lives, stating that anyone who can fight should. Sherry explains that while some fight for ideals, others do it for money and fame. She reveals Anho's grandfather, Keikine, chose wealth, which is why his granddaughter's with them today, as she timidly says hello. Sherry flashes a welcoming smile, gesturing them forward into the mission area. Submaster Jin instructs the students to stay where they are for their own safety. He specifically warns Hinata not to get separated, and Hinata agrees with determination. The spiky-haired boy smirks, telling Hinata not to hold them back and taunting him about being from Class E. The boy asks Jin why he's in the middle guard, and Jin explains he's only there as a precaution because of the students. Jin warns that the portal is swarming with ranked foes, even if the front lines handle the strongest ones. He advises them not to get complacent, prompting Hinata to seriously consider the threat of C-rank enemies. Hinata recalls his tough fight with the Chimera, realizing he must prepare for even stronger monsters. With a sharp command, Jin leads the middle guard forward as Hinata steals his resolve. The team enters the portal, disappearing into a shimmer of blue light. They arrive in a desolate, barren wasteland, the students looking around at the new environment. Through a mirage, they see the frontline team is already in action, clearing a path ahead. The ground is littered with sparkling pink crystals, remnants of the battle. The spiky-haired boy looks on in awe, impressed by the S-rank guild's incredible speed and efficiency. Suddenly, Hinata dashes forward in his red suit, leaving a surprised Jin calling out behind him. Whack. He expertly kicks a projectile rock out of the air before it can hit anyone. A guild member shouts, spotting a hidden enemy that no one else had seen. A vicious, purple-furred cannibal monkey emerges from hiding, chuckling as it brandishes a club. Jin grimaces, identifying the hiding monster as he draws his massive greatsword. He grips his sword tightly, his muscles tensing as he prepares to unleash a powerful strike. HRRRH. The monkey dodges as Jin slams his sword into the ground with devastating force. Both Hinata and the spiky-haired boy stare in awe, shocked that the battle was over in a single swift blow. Jin orders his guild members to scout the area and hunt down any other hiding threats. While the others thought the enemy was simply out of sight, the narration reveals that no one had actually noticed it. Jin looks thoughtfully at Hinata, wondering if the boy had sensed the monster's presence all along. Hinata smirks, finding the challenge interesting as he settles into a fighting stance. The scene shifts to a different portal, the D-Class City of Water Spirits, a lush green landscape. An alarm is raised as 2 monstrous treants lumber toward a group of fighters. Interns from the B-rank guild Elben prepare for battle, with one telling the pink-haired girl to provide support. The pink-haired girl unleashes a massive purple energy beam from her heavy cannon. The powerful blast obliterates the 2 treants in a fiery explosion. Her male companion stares in shock as a blonde girl from their academy walks calmly through the smoke. The blonde girl, Shiraha, gives a faint, confident smile as the others look on, amazed. Fellow guild members praise Shiraha's one-hit strike, confident that the mission will be an easy win with a Valkyria student present. The pink-haired girl angrily confronts Shiraha for the near miss, but Shiraha coolly replies that she wouldn't make such a mistake. Shiraha dismisses her, stating they should finish quickly and head back. Dejected, the pink-haired girl feels useless in Shiraha's presence and thinks about her friend Asahi. Looking at the sky, she puts a lollipop in her mouth and wonders if Asahi is doing well. Back in the C-rank portal, another student fights off a cannibal monkey with a kick. Hinata dodges a strike from a lunging monkey, which cries out in frustration. While a guild member engages one monster, Hinata swiftly dodges another that leaps from behind. The monkey raises a rock to crush him, but Hinata prepares a counter, his fist glowing with red energy. With immense power, he shatters the monkey's head with a single, devastating punch. He follows through with another powerful blow, completely obliterating the creature, surrounded by defeated monkeys. A fellow guild member compliments Hinata's skills, and he humbly thanks him. The spiky-haired boy watches in disbelief, frozen in place, while Hinata and the others clear out the monsters. He's stunned by Hinata's incredible moves, questioning how an ex-Class E student could possess Class B level skills. Realizing he has contributed nothing, the spiky-haired boy begins to panic, understanding how bad this makes him look. The spiky-haired boy shouts in frustration, activating his large gunblade artifact. He charges forward, annoyed to see Hinata already dominating the fight against the purple monkeys. Hinata calmly glances back as another monkey explodes from the force of his attack. Determined not to be outdone, the boy wields his gunblade and taunts Hinata, calling him a former Class E. As they fight side by side, Submaster Jin observes them, admitting to himself that they both have some skill. Jin notes the spiky-haired boy has impressive power and stamina, even if his technique is a bit unrefined. In contrast, he sees Hinata is already panting, seemingly lacking endurance. However, Jin praises Hinata's smart tactics, as he knows his limits and doesn't charge in recklessly. More than anything, Jin seems impressed by another, more significant quality. Hinata suddenly shouts a warning about an attack from above. As Jin realizes the boy's reaction speed is abnormal, Jin is stunned, recognizing that Hinata is reacting faster than some of his own seasoned guild members. A vicious-looking monkey grins as it prepares to hurl a massive rock down at the team. Roar. As a huge monkey leaps to attack, Jin understands Hinata possesses an incredible ability to sense danger. Jin muses that such a keen instinct can only be honed through countless real-life battles. Hinata expertly dodges and counters with a swift, powerful punch to a monster's gut. Jin watches for a moment before unleashing his own powerful attack, easily dispatching another monster. Watching Hinata's fluid movements, Jin wonders if he was simply born with extraordinary combat instincts. The scene flashes back to Nanashi, offering Hinata a piece of advice in his room. She sits on his bed, showing him a book and telling him to look closely. She points to a picture of a poisonous frog, which Hinata correctly identifies as dangerous, and she confirms this is the point. To conquer this portal, Nanashi explains, he needs to develop that same basic instinct for danger. Holding a monster encyclopedia, she states that danger sense begins with the simple thought that something might be there. Back in the present, Hinata internalizes her lesson, sharpening his senses and questioning everything. Guided by his hearing, he backflips perfectly over a lunging monkey. He then scans the area, his eyes searching for the next threat. With newfound awareness, he effortlessly kicks a projectile rock out of the air, perceiving all looming dangers. A guild member approaches Submaster Jin, asking for a word with the vice captain. He voices his concern, asking Jin if the number of enemies doesn't seem a bit excessive for this area. Jin agrees it's strange, noting that the vanguard should have already cleared this path. He worries that something might have happened, admitting he may have underestimated the C-class portal, but he quickly dismisses the thought, remembering that Sherry is one of only 10 people in Japan to wield a 5-star artifact. Gazing toward the horizon, he reaffirms his belief that there is no way her team could lose. Unseen by the group, a hidden sniper takes aim from a rocky perch. The sniper scope locks onto Submaster Jin's back, a voice confirming the target is acquired. Just as the shot is fired, Hinata instantly reacts, deflecting the projectile with a thrown rock. The sniper recoils in shock as his scope shatters, stunned that someone spotted him from so far away. He reports that the assassination attempt failed and that he will continue monitoring for another chance. Hinata turns to a surprised Jin, informing him that someone was just targeting him. When asked if the attacker was a person, Hinata confirms it without hesitation. Jin theorizes it might be a criminal guild, but finds it reckless for anyone to target an S-rank guild. He looks at Hinata with awe, amazed that the boy noticed a threat that even he failed to detect. Jin sincerely thanks Hinata for saving him, but their conversation is cut short by a frantic shout of "Emergency!" A panicked guild member sprints toward them, shouting for everyone to regroup with the vanguard immediately. He screams that the captain is in danger, leaving both Hinata and Jin in shock. Jin stares in disbelief, dismissing the news as some kind of ridiculous joke. The scene cuts to the front line, where a wounded Shizuhu stands defensively before an injured guildmaster Sherry. The urgent call to regroup with the vanguard echoes across the desolate landscape. The messenger reaches them, confirming their worst fears. The captain is in grave danger. Hinata's eyes widen in alarm as his mind focuses on only one person, Shizuhu. A flashback begins, showing the group 30 minutes earlier as their briefing is about to start. Sherry explains the vanguard's mission to Shizuhu: clear as many enemies as possible for the rear guard. A tactical map shows the plan: spread out within communication range and eliminate all hostile threats encountered. Shizuhu expresses concern over the danger, but Sherry confidently dismisses it as no problem for a C-class portal. With a confident stride, Sherry begins to state why she is so sure of their success. A massive lizard-like beast erupts from the ground, surrounded by purple monkeys. The monster roars, unleashing a powerful breath of fire. Sherry effortlessly raises a crystal shield to block the blast, stating she's capable of handling it alone. As the smoke clears from her shield, she stares down her foe with icy determination. She gracefully dodges the monster's powerful tail swipe. In a flash, Sherry slices through a swarm of attacking monkeys. Shizuhu watches in stunned silence, awestruck by the guildmaster's overwhelming power. The other students look on, completely mesmerized by the display of skill. The masked student smirks, confirming to himself that the rumors about Sherry being a monster are true. Facing a few cowering monkeys, Sherry announces that it's time for the interns to get some practice. She steps aside, leaving the remaining monsters for the students to handle. With a glowing scythe, Shizuhu stands victorious over a defeated monkey. The students finish off the last of the monsters, which dissolve into nothing. Shizuhu examines her weapon, realizing C-class monster movements are far superior and she must stay sharp. Sherry praises the three students, and the girl with the buns, Anko, worriedly asks if Chloe-kun is alright. The masked student, Chloe, asks Anko why she isn't fighting, and she explains her artifact needs magical crystals to work. Sherry generously allows Anko to take a crystal from a small monster, and Anko asks if she's sure. CSK, Sherry coldly retracts her offer, simply stating, "No, it's not," as Anko reaches for the crystal. Anko absorbs the crystal's energy, her eyes glowing with purple power. With a smug grin, she hugs her now enlarged puppet as a system window reveals her artifact, Puppet Master. Sherry is impressed, noting that an artifact that reuses defeated enemies is incredibly rare. She muses that while the puppets are weaker, the ability to bolster her forces is a great support skill. Finding herself impressed by yet another student, Sherry sighs that her list of desirable recruits is becoming troublingly long. Miles away, a sniper reports that his unit has reached the target point. Suddenly, the sniper recoils in shock. Through his scope, he sees Sherry staring directly at him. His shot misses wildly, hitting the dirt far from its target. Sherry looks over her shoulder, chastising the hidden attacker for their carelessness and leaking bloodlust. Two snipers look on in disbelief, stunned that she detected them. Sherry erects a massive ice wall, deflecting a volley of bullets. Straining under the heavy fire, she realizes there are too many attackers and orders everyone into a tight formation. The students and guild members huddle behind the crystalline barrier as bullets ricochet off its surface. Sherry grits her teeth as her earpiece fizzes with static. Realizing the communicators are jammed, she urgently orders a guild member to go warn the middle guard. Sherry turns to Shizuhu, grimly confirming her suspicion. They've been ambushed. A frightened Anko wonders if it's an illegal guild, but Sherry finds the timing of the attack strange. She reasons that looters would wait for the boss to be defeated, as attacking an S-rank guild is far too risky. She analyzes the bullet casings, realizing the non-artifact weapons are barely injuring them, but successfully holding them off. Pinned down by snipers on all sides, Sherry calls the situation troublesome. She asks the students to handle the monsters, and Shizuhu and her classmates confidently agree. Standing with Shizuhu, Sherry deduces the attack was time for the internship, but their true goal remains unclear. Crushing a monster corpse underfoot, she wonders why their enemies would attempt a plan so certain to fail. Now, do it. The hidden attackers suddenly fall back and disappear. Caught by surprise, Sherry cries out as dark tendrils erupt from the ground, ensnaring her legs. Trapped and struggling, she wonders in shock when the hidden trap was set. Sherry stares at her arm in shock, wondering what the strange sensation is. With dawning horror, her eyes widen as she begins to understand the trap. Wah! A dark mark appears on her hand, and she realizes her crest has been tainted. Gee, as a monkey leaps to attack, she curses, unable to defend herself effectively. Sherry desperately reaches out, her face strained with effort as she struggles against the unseen force. Shizuhu flashes in front of Sherry, intercepting the attack with a swift, powerful slash. Shizuhu anxiously asks if she's alright, and Sherry confirms she's fine, thanking her for the save. Sherry urgently warns the others to protect their crests, revealing the enemy can disable artifacts. The students are horrified by the news, with Chloe calling the situation a bad joke. The masked student Chloe finds his own artifact useless and tells his snake he must now rely on it.